Live broadcast of Naruto begins with a movie The Death of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. Timsy rushed to the place where the caravan was attacked before, but before he could check the surrounding situation clearly, a shadow suddenly jumped out from the ground and tied up his body. It's natural that this is Shikamaru's work. Timsy was taken to a nearby place where the attack caravan was temporarily placed. Naruto had also returned to the team at this time. Hien asked Timothy why he wanted to find the Grey Stone. Timothy said confidently that he and others needed it. Hien was obviously not satisfied with this answer and warned, "You don't understand the horror of this stone. It is something that should not be awakened. It seems that this Grey Stone has other side effects. How serious must it be to be described as terrible? I can't see what's wrong with Timothy for the time being. I don't know what he means. This is the nth time that Shikamaru has used the shadow to stun people. His movements are too skillful. The moves of the Nara family should not be used in front of the enemy. If they use them in front of you, you must be careful. There must be a backup plan waiting. Shikamaru, you can't always attack from behind. Look, everyone is criticizing you," Naruto said to Shikamaru earnestly. Sakura looked at him speechlessly. "You idiot, don't talk nonsense if you don't know anything." That was Shikamaru's tactic, not a sneak attack. You also interrupted and taunted, "Do you want Shikamaru to shout and attack the enemy head-on like you, or use a lot of shadow points as smoke bombs? What did you say? Bastard yam. Do you want to fight?" Naruto, who was annoyed by the weirdness, started his traditional art again, and Yer was also unwilling to be outdone and accompanied him to the end. Naruto went to the Wind Country for a tour and came back. Did Idara and Kankuro follow him? Maybe he has other plans. Unfortunately, Timsy didn't care about Hien's warning. He sneered and activated the power of the Grey Stone in his chest. A beam of light shot out from his chest and projected the image of the Grey Stone out of thin air. Seeing Timsy using the power of Greyer, Hien showed an expression of no surprise, and then he explained to everyone present, "This is Greyer's crystal stone, the source of life energy." After hearing Hien's answer, Timsy knew that he was not wrong, and the caravan did have information about Greyer's stone. "Your recovery ability is understandable. Where did you get the stone from?" Hien continued to ask, and Timsy did not hide it. "I got it from my master, Lord Hyde." If Timsy's strong recovery ability is due to Greyer's stone, then what about Naruto? His recovery ability seems to be stronger than Timsy's. Because Uzumaki Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Who is it? You dare to expose such information? Don't you want to live, asshole? Which village are you from? Do you think our Konoha is dead? Fuck. The person who exposed it is just hoping for chaos in the world. Is it really okay for you to just leak this level of information on the sky without reporting it to your superiors? Is this information that needs to be kept secret? But in Konoha village, even ordinary villagers know that Uzumaki Naruto is the Nine-Tails. It seems that it is an undercover agent from another village in Konoha. Want to be undercover Konoha is quite difficult. After all, there are those guys in the Yamanaka family who can check memories. But from the undercover's speech just now, it seems that the confidentiality level of the information that Uzumaki Naruto is the Nine-Tails is basically not high. It is the kind of information that I can find out by hiring an ordinary person to Konoha. It doesn't matter whether it is an undercover or not. So Konoha should reflect on itself. This level of information is actually spread all over the streets. So other villages have known about this for a long time? Before the village didn't take this information seriously because they thought it wasn't credible. It seems that the intelligence departments of other villages are all useless. I must have misunderstood Konoha. It doesn't matter if it's exposed because no one believes it, right? The specific reason for this has not been found out yet. It's clear that the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki couldn't find any information, but when it came to Uzumaki Naruto, it almost became semi-public information. Any normal intelligence personnel should be suspicious of this. Damn it. If it weren't for the village's high-level officials, forbidden, I have already announced the information of other Jinchuriki. In fact, it is not just Konoha. The situation of Sans village and Kumagakure is similar, and only Kurigakure and Iwagakure have done a better job of keeping secrets. It seems that the villages do not take the information of Jinchuriki seriously. It is obviously unreasonable for such confidential information to be spread everywhere. There must be a mastermind behind this. Denzo sneezed. Let's not talk about the barrage of comments that were arguing over the identity of Jinchuriki. Naruto, who was named at this time, was curious about the word Jinchuriki that appeared in the barrage, but he hesitated because it involved the relationship with the Nine Tails and didn't know how to speak. Sakura didn't have this concern, and asked Kakashi directly, "Kakashi-sensei, what is Jinchuriki?" Looking at the eager eyes of the little strong man, Kakashi scratched his head with a headache. After thinking about it, he decided to use a delaying tactic. This part of the content is also a highly confidential matter in the village, so let me ask the Hokage for instructions. Looking at Naruto's slightly lonely eyes, Kakashi patted him on the shoulder and said, "Don't be too anxious. Some things will not be hidden for too long. You will know it soon." Heian said that only the royal family of their clan can be ecologically integrated with a gray stone. In this case, they who hold the Grey Book cannot be unaware of the terrible history of the past, but Timsy seems to know nothing about it. Sure enough, as previously speculated, Timsy is the blood of their royal family. So the female knights who could transform before did not use the power of Grey? What the old man Heian meant is that only the royal family can directly use Greyer's power, and others should use this power indirectly through human body transformation. That's why Timsy has never demonstrated his ability to transform, because he doesn't need to mobilize Greyer's power in this way. Chapter 52. Seeing that Timsy knew nothing except the power of Greyer, in order to prevent him from being deceived, Heian began to tell the story of the past. No one knows how the kind of stone was produced, but at that time, an incredible mineral vein was discovered. Our ancestors refined those stones and crystallized them, and named this mineral Greyer. Then, they built a vast empire on this continent based on Greyer stone, created wells that never dry up, created livestock that grow overnight, created crops that bear fruit continuously, and even conducted research on preventing biological aging. Why does it sound a bit wrong? This should just be a myth. If this can be done, then this Greyer may not be as good as Chakra in combat, but he is far ahead in other aspects. No. I also want to go to the Wind Country to join in the fun. If I am lucky enough to find the Greyer stone, even if I can't research anything, I can definitely sell it on the black market for a lot of money. See you later, I'm going to make a fortune. The gentleman above is very confident. Now there are people with the same idea everywhere near the coastline of the Wind and Fire countries. I advise those who are not strong enough not to go and die. Not to mention the boiling ninja world because of Heian's words. In the Hidden Rain village, Nagato, who was originally calm, had a slight emotional ups and downs after hearing Heian's description of Greyer. Although he advocates promoting peace through pain, Nagato has also thought about improving people's living standards and reducing the occurrence of wars. It's just that this approach requires too much input, so he has no plans to study it in depth for the time being. However, now that there is a ready-made technology like Greyer that has been applied, Nagato doesn't mind using it in the Rain country first. Konan notifies Etsu and asks him to try to find clues related to Greyer. If there is a conflict with the tasks of several other major countries, don't force it. Now is not the time for our organization to be exposed. Konan did as he said without question. It's not that she thought as much as Nagato, but she just thought that maybe she could use Greyer's strong recovery ability to heal Nagato's feet. As for the other two bosses who aimed at Infinite Moon reading, they seemed quite calm. One was desperate about reality, and the other was convinced that people could not trust each other, so they never considered achieving peace by improving people's lives. Naturally, they didn't care much about Greyer's miraculous ability. Black Zetsu was a little bit thoughtful, wondering if this Greyer could replace Chakra to replenish some energy for his mother Kaguya. According to Heian's narration, everyone learned that because of Greyer's overly powerful power, the empire was plunged into war and eventually destroyed. So the survivors sealed Greyer's mineral veins underground, and the responsibility of Heian and his tribe was to guard the seal from generation to generation. So this is the scary thing Heian was talking about. I thought Greyer had some dangerous side effects. What a stupid idea. Just because you think this power will cause a war, you think it's scary, and then you seal it up. Humph. How an incompetent person handles it. No, I agree with Heian's idea in this regard. If Greyer is really as convenient as he said, it's not impossible to cause a war. If nothing else, it will have a huge impact on the resource-poor country of Wind Country. This comment is quite pertinent, Because Luosha is really anxious now. Except for some basic guards, almost all the registered sand ninjas have been sent out by him to find clues about Hyde, Hien and Greyerstone. Whether Sand Village can be revitalized depends on this harvest. In the Pure Land, Uchiha Madara was not surprised at all by the development of the story told by Hien. It is precisely because people cannot understand each other that simply improving people's living standards will never bring peace. No matter how harmonious it is at the beginning, human desires will sooner or later break the balance and cause conflicts and wars. Only in dreams can human beings' infinite desires be satisfied. Recognizing this again, Uchiha Madara's obsession with infinite moon reading +1. However, even after listening to Hien's description of how dangerous the Greyerstone is, Timothy has no intention of giving up. Instead, he is more determined to get Greyer's power. Faced with Naruto's questioning, Timothy expressed his thoughts: power is just power. What role it plays depends on the thoughts of the person who uses it. However, he is afraid that humans will repeat. Hien, who had made the same mistake, did not accept this statement at all, and repeatedly emphasized that it was not a power that humans should master. Although Timothy's idea sounds fine, it is still a bit naive. The thoughts of the person who uses the power are important, but the more critical thing is what other people think of the person who possesses this power. If it is an overwhelming force, it's okay. The most worrying thing is that there are equal forces, which greatly increases the possibility of a war. But don't you think it's a pity to just seal up this convenient power? Hien's description shows that it is a very sophisticated technology. It's better not to easily unlock the seal before you think about how to properly deal with this power. I don't want the Fourth Ninja World War to break out now. It's a pity that Timothy, who believes in Hyde 100%, firmly believes that he will be able to properly use Greyer's power. In order to realize their common dream, he will not give up no matter how much he sacrifices. Looking at Hyde's attitude of using ordinary people as materials to produce soldiers, why does Timothy think that he will not abuse Greyer's power? Although the Sky Curtain did not show it, I always feel that Hyde has not done anything worthy of praise. Their goal in coming to the ninja world is to find the Greyerstone, and according to Hyde, this is the power needed to create an ideal town, which means that their dream is still in the first stage for the time being. So why does Timothy believe in Hyde so much? Sure enough, he was brainwashed, using abilities such as illusions, otherwise Hyde's words at that level really don't make sense. You can't really think that people overseas are more naive and easy to deceive. Looking at the Sky Curtain, who was talking about Hyde all the time, Timothy hated his naivety and stupidity as much as he did now. Hyde was quite satisfied with his training of Timothy. If it wasn't exposed by the Sky Curtain, he believed that Timothy would still believe that he was a good person until the last moment. Chapter 53. Timothy recounted the dream Hyde had given him, then suddenly broke free from the ropes that bound him, and jumped back to take Hien hostage. Even Shikamaru had not expected this, and the three members of the team quickly stood in front of Timothy. Ignoring the three people's eager eyes, Timothy held the dagger across Hien's neck and asked about the location of the vein, but Hien refused very stubbornly. Timothy had expected this situation a long time ago, and he knocked Hien unconscious directly, and then dropped a flash bomb before Naruto and the other two could react, and fled with Hien and another child from the caravan. The kid from the Nara family also failed. He didn't even see the other party's intention. The people of the Nara family are just smarter. Don't think they know everything, okay? This mistake is a bit low level. Not only is there only one rope to restrict the enemy, but at least the equipment on the other party should be removed first. Shikamaru seriously reviewed himself. No, it was indeed my poor arrangement. I have already seen the abilities of his companions, but the way to control this guy is still too crude. Asuma took a puff of cigarette and was quite satisfied with Shikamaru's clear cognition. Experience is not gained in a vacuum, just pay attention in the future. After regaining his vision, Naruto hurriedly urged Sakura and Shikamaru to catch up quickly. Unfortunately, only Hien, the elder, knew the location of the mineral vein. The three people who lost the enemy and had no means of tracking were at a loss. Fortunately, Naruto acted as a ninja dog at this time. Naruto and the other two followed it and chased Timothy under Hien's guidance. Timothy came to a rocky hill. Is it here? Timothy stood on the edge of the cliff, looking at a temple-like building in the foggy canyon below. The terrain here is not common. Does anyone know where this is? From the range of activities of Hyde and his team, it can be determined that it is in the area between the Fire Country and the Wind Country. The rain country is probably not because it rains all year round there. Everyone knows this. Is there no more specific information? No one really uses the sky curtain as a channel to answer questions and solve doubts. All information obtained from the sky curtain must be screened, analyzed and confirmed before it can be used. If you take it seriously, you are playing with the village and your life. With obvious terrain and building guidance, all people and forces interested in Gray rush to the target area to explore all similar terrains. I believe that it will not be long before the location of the mineral vein can be found even without Hien's guidance. Hyde had already anticipated that although he might not be able to find the mineral vein before everyone else, with his years of research on Greer, as long as he got close to the mineral vein, he could also defeat all those who got ahead of him with the power guided from it. After confirming the location, Timothy released the child who had been captured to threaten Hien, then raised the dagger and stimulated the power of Grell in his body. A green beam of light shot up from the sword, and after reaching a certain height, it deflected and shot flat towards the fortress in the distance. The beam hit the receiver erected in the fortress at an extremely fast speed. After a series of conversion and analysis, the specific target location appeared on the radar. So the land fortress started and headed towards the location given by Timothy. The communication technology is also quite advanced. The information from such a long distance was transmitted to their fortress in an instant. Although I can't see anything special in terms of combat, it feels much stronger than chakra in other aspects. Again, it's just because no one pays attention to the development of this aspect. Chakra is not much worse than Grell in other aspects. Naruto and the other two followed Nalugu into the temple. The three of them were confused after a long and winding journey. Fortunately, Nalugu's sense of smell was reliable. Although the three of them almost fell from the broken road to the bottom of the building, they at least found the figures of Timsy and Hien. Timsy had not yet discovered that the three of them had caught up with him. He followed Hien's footsteps and walked to a platform made up of the upper and lower surfaces of 3 cylinders. Timsy is a bit too self-evident. The hostages used to threaten Hien have been released. Why do you still think that Hien will obey his instructions obediently? Hien, this old man, won't have other plans. He originally refused to reveal the location of the mineral vein, but now he is unusually cooperative. The three of them caught up with Timsy, and Naruto shouted first, "Wait, give me the mastery, I'll let it go. Don't get in the way." Timothy made a defensive move. Suddenly, pieces of rubble fell from the sky, and a series of rumbling sounds shook the entire temple. Hyde and others were riding the fortress, unstoppable, and broke through the outer wall and appeared in front of everyone. What? Naruto didn't expect to see the fortress again in this way. Ignoring his shock, Timothy reported to Hyde that the mineral vein was just below the ruins, the target was in sight, and Hyde couldn't suppress the smile on his face. He thanked Timothy and then prepared to activate the fortress to reach the mineral vein directly, but was stopped by a shadow that suddenly extended over. It seems to be the 4th time. Shikamaru likes to use shadows to control the enemy suddenly. It shows that he has a good grasp of the timing. Maybe his pure combat intuition is not as good as Naruto's, but if the two fight, I think Shikamaru has a greater chance of winning. After seeing this barrage, Naruto was a little dissatisfied. What? I won't lose to Shikamaru. Hey, Shikamaru, let's go to the training ground tomorrow to compete. Shikamaru felt very helpless about these barrages that always caused trouble to him. Please spare me, Naruto, don't take those inexplicable remarks seriously. How can I be your opponent? Aino was very dissatisfied with Shikamaru's behavior of boosting others' ambitions and destroying her own prestige. Even though they were also partners in Konoha, she also hoped that her team would be the best among all teams. Please cheer up. How can Naruto's brain compare to yours? You can defeat him with a little bit of enthusiasm. What did you say? When Naruto gets angry, he doesn't care whether you are a man or a woman. Fortunately, Sakura has been suppressing him. After suppressing Naruto's temper, Sakura showed an expression of disgrace and looked at Aino and persuaded her, Aino, you should save some energy. I think your team will be busy from tomorrow. Why? Before Aino could react, Sakura pointed at Shikamaru, who replied with a depressed look, because I appeared on the sky. Chapter 54. Thinking that the grayer mind was within reach, Hyde remained calm even though he was controlled. He closed his eyes and said casually, well, it's really difficult. Is this rude person your friend, Naruto? Naruto looked at Hyde coldly as he spoke. What do you want to do? Didn't you make an appointment with me to work together towards a better world? Seeing that Hyde was still talking inconsistently, Naruto's voice was slightly cold. I should be the one asking this question. Shikamaru interrupted and asked him the purpose of looking for the Greyer Stone. Hyde's answer to this was always those three words, utopia. My god, I can't even look at the word utopia anymore. Why does it sound so low when Hyde says this high-sounding word? Looking at his almost uncontrollable smile, it's obvious that his goal is just to get Greyer's power. Utopia is just a slogan to deceive people. Naruto pursed his lips and looked at Hyde on the sky with disgust, using everyone's dreams to achieve his own goals. What a bastard. He's just an ambitious person. When you have more experience in the future, you will know that there are many people like him in the ninja world. Kakashi concluded. Is that so? But your words and actions are extremely inconsistent. Shikamaru obviously didn't believe the other party's nonsense, so Hyde gave a supplementary explanation for his behavior. Everything is a sacrifice for true justice. Then, why attack an unarmed caravan? Sakura didn't even listen to Hyde's big talk and directly questioned him. Unexpectedly, Hyde gave such an answer. It can't be helped. We also made huge sacrifices. Everything is a noble sacrifice for creating a world without fighting. Ha, it's improved. There are new lines for fooling people. To create a world without fighting and all sacrifices are noble. Everyone remember these two sentences, and then you can make people work for you. Ha. This kind of words can only fool children. No, the children in our village will not be fooled by such lame slogans. It seems that people overseas are really not very smart. This dream is not ridiculous, but it is ridiculous to say it from someone like Hyde. This boring guy, get rid of him quickly, he's an eyesore. Timsy gritted his teeth and looked at the bullet screen on the sky. What these people who had never met were saying was right. Their dreams were right, but they were tarnished by Hyde. Thinking of this, Timsy glared at Hyde with a look that wanted to grind him to ashes. Hyde noticed it and smiled and said, nice look. I hope you keep this fighting spirit until I get a Greyer mine. Hey, uncle, what is the so-called noble sacrifice? Even if it's your companion who fell, can a noble sacrifice be enough? Naruto questioned Hyde, and then heard the standard answer of an ambitious person, that those who achieve great things don't care about trivial matters. In addition, Timsy next to him also agreed with his point of view, so Naruto was immediately angry. Are you crazy? Go down and find the mine quickly. What are you talking about here? Maybe he feels that he has won. This Hyde is too confident. Could it be that he has the means to control the mineral veins? Otherwise, he should have eliminated Naruto and the others first. Hyde asked Naruto about his companions. I am not sure, but for me, companions must be people I cherish more. I used to be alone, but after making many friends, I am no longer lonely. So, my dream is to become a Hokage who protects everyone in a village with companions. Naruto talked about the meaning of companions to him, then raised his finger and pointed at Hyde and asked loudly, what is the purpose of the utopia you are talking about? The dream of not cherishing companions is rubbish, so I will smash it, because the existence of companions keeps him away from loneliness. He cares about this word so much, and even his dream is to become a Hokage who protects his companions. Although I am not from Konoha, I still want to say that this kind of relationship and feelings are great. Having said that, it seems that Naruto has become a bit obsessed with the word partner. He will question any behavior that would tarnish the word partner, as can be seen from his angry criticism of Hyde and Timothy. This aspect really needs to change. Since they know that the other party is a bad guy, they don't respect. It's not surprising that he values his partners. There's really no need to take it too seriously. This kind of seriousness is the characteristic of Uzumaki Naruto. It feels like as long as he recognizes the relationship of a partner, whether it's from Konoha or not, Naruto should be able to get along with the other party from the heart. Kakashi was reminded of Naruto's words, and he sighed in his heart. That's a good point, Naruto, but the people he recalled were indifferent to these words, and even sneered, boring. Not to mention Kakashi, who was immersed in memories. In the barbecue restaurant, Zyuokiang quietly listened to Naruto's speech on the sky screen, which was like a passionate confession, looked at each other, and then fell into silence at the same time. Although it feels good to be recognized by your companions, to be honest, that speech sounds a bit corny in this situation. Even Naruto, who is always thick-skinned, felt that the atmosphere was weird and embarrassed to speak, so the room was immersed in an awkward atmosphere. Fortunately, there are Kai and Zyoli who can't hide their emotions at all. The awkward atmosphere didn't last for a moment, and the two of them burst into tears and hugged Naruto. "You said it very well, Naruto-kun. This is youth." While Hyde was distracted by talking to Naruto, Hien activated the switch of the platform under his feet. With the determination to destroy the mind together, the platform took him and Timothy into the underground like an elevator. "Grandpa." Naruto nervously ran to the place where the two disappeared. "We must destroy the stone." Something unexpected happened. Hyde's eyes widened with anger and he instantly opened Shikamaru's control. Then he hurriedly took out a book from his arms and searched for the answer. There is no record of how to destroy it. How much does that guy know? Unable to find the answer in the book, Hyde immediately threw the book away and flew directly to the place where Timothy and the others disappeared. By the way, when passing by Naruto, he waved his hand and knocked him away. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. Finally you stop pretending. I've seen enough of that hypocritical expression. Naruto didn't have any guard at all. He was beaten so easily. I told you to pretend. You were chatting with Naruto leisurely. Now you've fallen. Hyde is worse than I thought. That book should be the so-called Book of Greer. What do you mean? How come it's even worse? Have you forgotten that Ian said before that the Book of Greer was taken away by the royal family? Then in Timothy's memory, the people who attacked the village took away similar things in the book. Combined with Hyde's words and deeds on the sky, it is not difficult to draw such a conclusion. Timothy looked at Hyde in disbelief, and Hyde responded with an unusually happy smile, saying, "Just as you think, the one who destroyed your village is me, just to get the Book of Greer in your hands." Hyde. Ho ha ho ha, this reaction is great. Hyde's heavy punch directly shattered the ground and exposed the passage leading to the underground mine. Because he was worried about what would happen below, he decided to go down first and let the fortress follow. After giving the order, Hyde grew 4 wing-like decorations on his back and flew underground. The 3 armored men followed closely and jumped into the deep passage. Shikamaru was about to intercept, but the Bat Knight Camilla appeared in front of him faster than him and blocked him. On the other side, Sakura took the initiative to intercept the Werewolf Knight Fugue and prevented her from activating the fortress. At the same time, she reminded Naruto to act quickly and catch up with Hater. "Damn it. Wait for me." Naruto stepped hard in the rubble, and slid down the stone wall of the passage with his chakra. This development seems familiar. Last time, Naruto was the strongest one, and the others were responsible for dealing with some minions. Shikamaru and Sakura, are you worthy of Naruto's affectionate confession just now? You all don't care. Shikamaru was stopped by the enemy. Sakura thought she was not strong enough and didn't try to stand out. Isn't it normal for it to develop like this? Naruto had no intention of stepping on the landmine for his companions, and said smugly, "It doesn't matter. Shikamaru and Sakura are responsible for dealing with the 2 women, and Naruto will deal with the bad guy Hyde. Of course, he also needs to wake up the confused Timothy." Okay. You couldn't stand Naruto's arrogant look, and shouted, "Hey Naruto. Don't keep putting the things you did in the future on your head. If you have the ability, go and beat Hyde now, but you will probably be the one to be beaten." "Yeah, you bastard. Are you jealous of me?" Naruto grabbed Jia's collar directly, and you did the same thing without hesitation. "Don't joke, I will be jealous of you. If you have the ability, go out and practice now. I will let you see the power of the secret ninjutsu of the Inuzuka family." Looking at the 2 people who rolled up their sleeves and rubbed their hands, the others had to pull them apart again. Really, how many times will this farce happen again? Kakashi didn't move, stroking his chin and looking at Naruto and the others thoughtfully. What you said just now woke him up. Naruto has indeed been inflated recently, often linking himself with what happened on the sky, and Sakura also has some signs. To be honest, this mentality is very dangerous. Before they have sufficient strength, if they blindly learn the future tactical arrangements and strategies to deal with the enemy, they are simply playing with their own lives. It seems that we have to find a way to correct this mentality in the future, otherwise, let alone achieve those achievements in the future, it is still unknown whether we can survive until then. Timothy and Hien, who had fallen in advance, arrived at the final destination. Hien told him that this place is called the Sealed Room. The two walked to a completely black mural. Hien stood behind Timothy and said in a heavy voice, "That was the painting our ancestors used to record the terrible power of the Greystone when this place was sealed. This one." Timothy took a step closer to take a closer look. Hien said with a slightly sad tone, "It's like a painting of despair. Just like in the painting, the Empire was destroyed because of it." Hien, the old-fashioned man, is saying this again. It's a crime to waste this kind of power here. This so-called empire should be a thing of a long time ago. Perhaps the power that was very dangerous at that time is just commonplace in the current ninja world. This possibility cannot be ruled out. I think it's better to be cautious. I've only lived a peaceful life for a few years. I don't want to experience another war. To be honest, Grayer's power is terrible. Isn't it just one-sided words from Old Man Hien? There's no point in discussing here whether it may cause a war. After all, we have to find it before we can know the follow-up development. Just like the perfect form of the ghost, it only exists in the mouths of the witches and ghosts. Before seeing it, few people will take it seriously, especially after Naruto defeats it in the future. By the way, this painting is terrible. Does painting it black mean that everything is destroyed? If there is no explanation from Hien, would a normal person think that a dark mural is terrible? It feels like Hien only explained the meaning of this painting based on his own understanding. After all, he is just a successor. How can he know what the person who left this painting was thinking at the time? However, Timothy was not dissuaded by Hien's words at all. Hien was quite angry about this and asked him if he didn't find the picture in front of him scary. Even without the Greyer Stone, humans will still go to war. In this case, we must use it in the right way. Timothy never agreed with Hien's idea from beginning to end. Although he was deceived by Hyde, his dream of creating an ideal hometown was extremely real, so he needed to obtain Grayer's power. Is that so? Hien, who originally planned to make Timothy change his mind, gave up. He put his hand behind his back and took out a dagger. The Greyer Stone may still exist, but let's die here together. Hien held the dagger in both hands and rushed towards Timothy, shouting, "This is Hien's idea, to die together with Timothy. What is Timothy's role here, and what impact will he have on the mining of the Greyer vein? It's probably a switch or something like that. After all, this ruin was built by their royal family, so it's normal to leave a switch that requires blood to activate. Is the ruin a seal of the mineral vein? But how can Hien guarantee that this seal will not be removed by other means? After so long, the current sealing technique is much more advanced than the ancient one. Chapter 56. Inside the temple, Sakura was running around in a panic as the wolf girl Fugue was chasing her. Shikamaru was helpless in the face of Camilla, who had transformed into a bat and was flying around. Camilla dodged the thrown kunai easily, and the shadow technique that could not leave the plane could not do anything to the flying opponent. Shikamaru stopped attacking and observed the enemy's movements, forcing himself to calm down. Suddenly, Shikamaru's sight inadvertently swept across a broken hole on the opposite wall, and Kankuro's figure flashed through it. He was slightly stunned, and then Shikamaru immediately thought of a way to deal with the enemy. Can the Nara family's ninjutsu deal with floating enemies? I've learned it. I'll use this trick to deal with them next time. Don't be naive. That's just the initial form of the shadow secret technique. Higher level ones can move away from the plane. Sakura was chased by her opponent and ran away everywhere. If she had grown up, she would have been able to defeat her opponent with one punch. The gap is huge, but on the other hand, it shows that she has grown a lot. Sakura herself was not dissatisfied with her slightly embarrassed self on the sky screen. From her age and means of dealing with the enemy, that future is not far from now, so it is understandable that she is a little weak. But the opponent is not without something worth learning from her. At least that courage and endurance are not comparable to her current self. This can actually be seen from the short pink hair. What happened? Why did I cut my hair short? Sakura held the ends of her long hair and began to consider whether to learn from her future self and cut it off. Sakura tried to counterattack the enemy while running away. The detonating tag she shot was detonated directly beside Fuji. The violent explosion accompanied by a large amount of smoke and dust directly enveloped her body. How is it? Sakura stopped and clenched her fists proudly, but she didn't expect that after such an attack, Fuji actually rushed out of the explosion range without any damage. Sakura, who was startled, quickly dodged the enemy's bite. How can you chase me when you are blinded? I didn't expect that Fuji would explain the reason when she was just talking to herself in confusion. The smell of blood told me your location. As she spoke, Fuji let out a wolf howl, and a strong shock wave spit out from her mouth like a cannonball, smashing all the mountain walls as Sakura ran away. Great, this kind of opponent who reveals his own abilities. It would be great if all the enemies I encounter are of this kind. The one who transformed into gorilla before was also like this. Aren't these people too straightforward? I can't say they are straightforward, but I feel like they are brainless. Could it be the effect of this transformation? Sakura dodged the attack nimbly, and after noticing the movement behind her, she quickly turned her head and found that there were 7 suspended stone pillars with hexagonal bottoms, swaying gently in the enemy's roar. Fuji followed the smell of blood, but she didn't notice the abnormality of the environment in front of her at all. She walked straight to the bottom of the stone pillar, and then suddenly looked up at Sakura who was supporting the top. It's over. Fuji pronounced Sakura's death and let out a long howl without hesitation. Sakura calmly fired a kunai out of the stone pillar, and when the enemy's attack was about to hide her, she quickly left the stone pillar's coverage with a rope tied to the kunai. And Fuji covered her ears and screamed in the echo of her own howl, and was hit hard by the collapsed stone pillar and the pendant on the top. This is a solid proof that there is something wrong with her brain. It seems that this is the most obvious side effect of transformation. Sakura is so handsome. Sakura's strength may not be the strongest, but she is quite good at improvisation. Is it as mysterious as you say? This result is mostly thanks to the enemy's brainlessness. Being able to take advantage of this is improvisation. Not all tactical arrangements are as complicated as those of the Nara family. Shikamaru began to set traps nearby. A series of detonating tags connected by kunai and ropes almost covered the entire space, as if he wanted to limit the enemy's range of activities in this way. After Shikamaru demonstrated the effect of the detonating tag, Camilla looked embarrassed and looked at the layout of the detonating tags around her. Oh, there's a big hole. As she spoke, Camilla flew to the side and below, but turned halfway and flew up again. Just kidding, your shadow is waiting there, hey. This one seems to have some brains. She actually saw through Shikamaru's plan. No way, this trap can be seen through by any normal person, so she can be said to have brains. If it was the 2 female knights before, they would have rushed over without thinking, but this Batgirl actually teased Shikamaru in return. She is smarter than the other 2, thinking that she had seen through Shikamaru's plan. Camilla was very proud, and flew backwards in the air to send Shikamaru a kiss, but she didn't feel proud for long. Kankuro's puppet took advantage of her unpreparedness and swallowed her from behind, and then with a rotation of the puppet's blade, Camilla was killed instantly. Shikamaru put his hands on his hips and exhaled, then landed on the ground and said hello to Kankuro, who also landed. Thank you for your help. I have a grudge against this guy. Kankuro simply responded, then looked at the detonating tags everywhere and said, but there are so many detonating tags, I really can't move them around. Most of them are just decorations. Shikamaru explained with a relaxed expression. We can draw a conclusion. He has brains but not much? It may be related to his IQ before the transformation. They didn't even say hello, but they cooperated perfectly. To be honest, when are you going to merge with Konoha and Tsunagakure? Pay attention. One of them is from the Nara family. As long as they know each other a little bit, I think they can cooperate well with each other. Kankuro looked at himself who was talking to Shikamaru on the sky screen, exhaled and shook his head, reminding himself, don't think too much now. How it will develop in the future depends on the arrangement of the top management. Temari naturally understood this and didn't say much. Shikamaru naturally had the same consideration, but when he thought that he had inexplicably gained some acquaintances, if the 2 sides wanted to deepen their contact in the future, he would inevitably become a member of the exchange. When he thought of this, Shikamaru pursed his lips and said with a very disgusted expression, it's so troublesome. Chapter 57. The battle in the temple is over, but the conflict in the sealed room is still going on. Heian was knocked out by Timothy, but he had expected this situation. He stood up with a dagger stained with Timothy's blood and said, the talisman array on the floor is set up to use the ancient psychic technique to summon something. What do you want to do? Timothy still didn't understand Heian's actions, but he didn't plan to explain. He suddenly raised the dagger and planned to activate the talisman array on the ground. Let's perish together here. What is this going to be spiritualized? According to what he said before, it should be something that can destroy the mineral vein. This is why Hien brought Timothy down. His blood is needed to activate the talisman array of this spiritual art. Since such a talisman array was set up, why didn't the ancient royal family directly activate it and destroy the mineral veins, but also took the trouble to build ruins here to seal this power? There are many possible answers to this question. There is no point in discussing this. Since it is left, as long as the person who finds it can make good use of this power, it will be fine. Suddenly, an invisible impact knocked the dagger in Hien's hand away, and the entrance and exit that had been sealed collapsed instantly in a violent explosion, revealing the figures of Hyde and 3 armored men behind. Although I don't know what you want to do, it seems that I caught up. Hyde had regained his composure at this time and walked into the sealed room calmly. Timothy was not surprised by Hyde's appearance. After a simple greeting, he asked about the strange ability he had just used. Hyde showed his right hand without any concealment. Maybe it's because of it. That's the Grell Stone. Timothy instantly recognized a Grell Stone embedded in Hyde's right glove. Hyde seemed to be using this power for the first time and excitedly tested his ability around him. Ha, it's just as the book says. It's such a strong power that it can blow things away without touching them. How come Hyde has never used this power before? The way he uses it is different from Timothy's. The Grell Stone is embedded in his glove. He should have developed a technology to guide the Grell power, and somehow bypass the restriction that only the royal family can combine with the Grell Stone. Hien learned from Hyde's speech that the Grell book was in his hands, so he asked him where he got it from. Although Hyde answered every question, his perfunctory attitude obviously could not win people's trust. In addition to his previous series of words and deeds, Hien had already determined that this guy was not a good person, and even guessed that he was the one who attacked Timothy's village. Hien's questioning made Timothy's heart tremble slightly. Although Hyde was still quibbling, his expression showed that he didn't care even if he was right. What are you doubting? How could I do such a terrible thing when I aim for a world without struggle? Then the two began to argue about whether to use Greer, which was similar to the content of Hien's argument with Timothy before, which showed how much Timothy was influenced by Hyde. However, Hyde was not as serious as Timothy. It seemed that he was just talking about irrelevant things. While arguing with Hien perfunctorily, he was looking for something in the sealed room. Suddenly, a control console-like device rose up from the ground in front of a mural. Seeing this, Hyde hurriedly approached to confirm, this is the key to open the door to the mine. Hyde's attitude is obviously problematic. Why is Timothy standing there watching? It should be that he doesn't want to believe it. The collapse of faith is very serious, and it is definitely not weaker than physical damage. The switch can only be activated by royal blood. Hien was extremely nervous when he saw Hyde approaching. At this time, Nalugu, who had followed him at some point, rushed straight towards Hyde, but was bounced away by an invisible impact from his body. Looking at a piece of green debris falling from Nalugu's body, Hyde said nonchalantly, "Oh, there are also fragments of the Greer Stone hidden there." Then there was another hypocritical performance, talking about noble sacrifices all the time, but his hands mercilessly sent out an impact and knocked Hien away. I can't control my power well yet. Looking at Hien, who was still able to move, Hyde looked at the gray stone in his hand and said, "Forget it. This guy want a clown? Does he really enjoy the feeling of playing others around with legitimate reasons? You don't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is when you have a little power, and those lines like dreams can only deceive children who are not well versed in the world. What's there to be proud of? It's too small-minded. Damn it. Why haven't I arrived yet? Hurry up and beat this annoying Hyde to pulp." Naruto was angry at Hyde's extremely hypocritical performance. He waved his fists angrily, wishing he could get into the sky and beat him up personally. Hyde stretched out his hand again to attack Hien, but was blocked by Timothy's sword. "What do you want to do, Timothy?" Hyde seemed a little puzzled by Timothy's behavior. Even though Hyde had behaved so badly, Timothy was still using various excuses to maintain his shaky image. He asked Hyde to let go of Hien, who had no resistance, but Hyde rejected his request outright. "Lord Hyde." The memory of his hometown being destroyed came to Timothy's mind, and he knelt on one knee, staring blankly at Hyde raising his hand. How deep is this brainwashing? From the pictures in Timothy's memories, it must have been at least 7 or 8 years. The belief that has been instilled for 7 or 8 years and firmly believed and collapsed in one day. No one can bear it, let alone a boy of 12 or 13 years old. Hyde is also a talented guy. This is the first time I've seen a team formed from children. Hyde's core team wouldn't just be him and the 3 female knights, right? The others were all deceived and used by him? This is similar to the situation of Wulian, which mainly relies on its own strength, and a few subordinates are enough to run errands. The level of the two is far apart, okay? Don't compare Wulian and Hyde. Chapter 58. The impact came again, but fortunately Naruto finally caught up and saved Hien at the critical moment. What do you want to do? Naruto asked Hyde and Timothy. The 3 armored men on the side were about to attack Naruto, but stopped under Hyde's control. You are also very tenacious. Hyde looked at Naruto with disdain, and then used the gray stone to launch several shock waves at him, but Naruto dodged them all quickly. The attack was fruitless, but Hyde was not angry. He ordered Timothy as usual. Timothy, what are you daydreaming about? Kill those 2 people. Hyde is a man who uses people to the fullest, isn't he? He won't stop until he squeezes out the value of others. Is Hyde not good at fighting? His attack is not accurate enough. He probably didn't take Naruto seriously. He is the leader of a team after all. Hyde should be stronger than those female knights before. Naruto, who was still on guard, was slightly stunned when he saw Timothy's bewildered expression. Is this a noble sacrifice? Timothy's brain was almost unable to work at this time, and he asked softly in a voice that only he could hear. Even though Hyde's familiar command voice reached his ears, it only made the figure who attacked the village clearer in his mind. Seeing that Timothy no longer obeyed orders, Hyde completely removed his disguise at this time, looked at him with a grin and said, Timothy, I am very disappointed in you. After all, you are just as low class and boring as your parents. How could it be? Impossible. The mysterious man who attacked the village completely overlapped with the figure of Hyde in front of him. Timothy could no longer deceive himself and faced the reality. Ha. Yes, it's me. Hyde laughed loudly and mocked Timothy. You don't even know the enemy who killed your parents, but you are so close to me. What a cute chess piece. Damn guy, not only killed Timothy's parents, but also deceived him like that and trampled on other people's dreams. I will never let this guy go. Naruto angrily hit his left palm with his right fist. Seeing this, Kakashi patted his shoulder and comforted him. Don't worry, Naruto, the village has already sent people to investigate near the coastline of the Wind and Fire countries. As long as Hyde dares to come to the ninja world, he will never let him go. Although he had learned about this from Hyde, Timothy couldn't help but feel a little sad when he saw this scene. But now that we know where the stone is, you are useless. Hyde walked towards Timothy, using the gray stone in his hand to attack continuously. At the same time, the energy bursting from his body tore open his outer robe, revealing the upper body covered with traces of transformation. Then, with a twist of his body, Hyde's skin instantly turned gray, his hair turned white, and his eyes turned red. Timothy, frustrated, was unable to stop Hyde's progress. The dagger in his hand was directly knocked away, and then the whole person was grabbed by the collar and lifted up. Hyde. Sir, Timothy murmured with a sad face, but Hyde had no sympathy. In Naruto's shouting, Timothy was pierced through the chest by Hyde, and the gray stone in his body was dug out and crushed directly. This way everything in the world is mine, Hyde said complacently, throwing Timothy out like garbage. Naruto subconsciously wanted to rush over, but Hien behind him stopped him and begged, Naruto, please, stop him for me. Hien is a real talent for employing people. A task of finding small animals and sending them back has been added with so many follow-up contents. Must pay more in the future, Konoha. Don't let others take advantage of you, otherwise everyone's business will be difficult. He was questioning Timothy just now, but when he saw that he was injured, he couldn't wait to save him. I can see that Timothy is very important in this story. The position in the mine is equivalent to SHIN last time, right? By the way, what did Hyde transform into? I can't see any animal characteristics. The face that originally looked kind and benevolent suddenly became very evil. Now Naruto can let go when he beats him up. Thank you, Hyde. Rubbish. Hyde commented to Timothy with disdain, and then turned around to start the switch of the mine. As expected, Naruto was already blocking him not far ahead, looking at him with a firm expression. I won't let you take another step forward. Rubbish, is he a waste after all? Hyde said uninterestedly. Then his eyes glared and his figure flashed in front of Naruto, and he directly knocked him out with his strengthened fist. Naruto immediately used his shadow clone to fight with Hyde. The severely injured Tensei lay on the ground and looked at several armored men not far away. What are we doing? He is still conscious even though his chest was pierced. His vitality is very strong. The royal family of their clan should also be special. Otherwise, why can only they have some kind of ecological combination with the Grey Stone? Then it's Naruto who will show his power and defeat Hyde. To be honest, the villain in today's story doesn't give people any sense of crisis. Dozens of shadow clones were easily wiped out, and the shuriken shot by Naruto from the blind spot in the air was blocked by the black substance transformed from the 4 red balls suspended behind Hyde. Hyde can even use these substances to transform into wings for simple flying movements. Naruto, who was in midair, had no power to fight back and was hit by Hyde and fell from the air. Hyde slowly landed beside Naruto and persuaded him with good intentions. Stop it, give up. It's a pity that Naruto didn't have the word give up in his dictionary, so Hyde kicked him out with a grin and fell beside Timothy bearing the pain. Naruto struggled to stand up again, and while standing up, he encouraged Timothy beside him, "You guy. How can you give up now? Isn't your dream to create an ideal hometown?" After Naruto finished speaking, he rushed towards Hyde without looking back. At such a critical moment, he still has the energy to care about other people's dreams. I don't feel surprised at all. Hey, Naruto, you don't think that Timothy will ignore his injuries and help you just by saying a few words about dreams? Hyde said the most inappropriate things, such as giving up, stopping, and not continuing. If it were someone else, it would be fine, but to Naruto, these words feel like a soldier pill, just increasing his combat power. Hyde's transformation strengthens his body, but it is much simpler than that of his subordinates. Chapter 59. Hyde was hit by Naruto's Rasengan and flew out in a spin, smashing the top wall and revealing another space behind it. However, even though he was hit by the Rasengan head-on, Hyde still did not fall down. Naruto and Timothy looked at Hyde with his limbs severely twisted and his head twisted half a circle in shock and said indifferently, "It really hurt a little just now." "What? Ha, it's great." A green mist emanated from the broken gap and wrapped around Hyde's body. In just a few seconds, his inhuman body returned to its original state. The wound is healing. What a powerful force. Hyde's endurance after transformation is a bit terrifying. That kind of injury has no effect on him. Normal if a person's neck was twisted into that shape, they would have been dead. No. Grayer's mineral vein is outside this sealed room, and we can see it by breaking the wall. Then what was the switch before? In that case, what is Timothy's role? I thought that royal blood was needed to activate the switch to see the mineral vein, but you told me that all I have to do is tear down the wall. Hyde himself didn't expect this, otherwise there is no way to explain why he kept Timothy around for so many years. It can't be to satisfy his evil taste of driving victims. Seeing that the opponent was so difficult to deal with, Naruto encouraged Timothy to fight Hyde with him. After recovering, Hyde shot 2 energy beams directly at them, but he didn't expect that the 3 armored men who had been standing still suddenly helped the 2 to block the attack. Hyde, who no longer needed these mass-produced soldiers, taunted a few times, then raised his hands to absorb the power of the Grail or vein. Naruto saw this and hurriedly called out to Timothy, "Timothy!" Damn! Timothy picked up the Grail fragments on the ground and staggered to his feet, roaring and following Naruto's footsteps. I was really brought back to life by Naruto's words about dreams and never giving up. This is a bit outrageous. The heart was pierced. This kind of injury can't be ignored by willpower. Maybe Timothy still has the power of Grail in his body. In fact, his injury is not as serious as it looks. Go, Timothy. Naruto raised his hands behind him. In his open palms, in his left hand, he and his shadow clone used the red jade Rasengan with part of the tailed beast's chakra, and in his right hand, he used the blue Rasengan that combined Timothy's Grail power. The 2 of them kept this posture and rushed towards Hyde. Had he absorbed enough power, Hyde released it, and the blue power of Gray rushed to the 2 of them like a torrent. Timothy rushed to Naruto and blocked Hyde's attack with a Grayer fragment in his hand, leading the way for Naruto to move forward. Naruto, as you said, the dream of sacrificing your companions is not a dream at all. The red Rasengan, could it be the power of the 9 tails? Why did Naruto merge his chakra with Timothy's Grail power so naturally? Can different systems of energy be mixed so casually? Since they can be mixed and used, it means that the 2 forces actually have a certain commonality. Or Grell is actually some special chakra? It seems that the royal bloodline is very helpful in the use of Grell. Timothy actually blocked Hyde's attack with a small piece of debris. Well done, Timothy, that's how you beat up that bastard Hyde. Seeing that Timothy on the sky finally woke up, Naruto said excitedly. At this time, Timothy, who was controlled by Hyde, was also a little excited, but when he thought of his current state, he became depressed again. Hyde saw all his emotional changes and said with a slightly mocking tone, "What a pity, without the help of Uzumaki Naruto, what can you do to me even if you know my true identity?" Faced with the two aggressive people, Hyde increased his energy output, blowing away Timothy and defeating Naruto's shadow clone, leaving Naruto's body alone to face Hyde. Fortunately, the two condensed Rasengans this time have special power. After shattering the black matter behind Hyde and the grayer stone in his hand, Naruto pressed the blue Rasengan with Rayer's power hard on Hyde's heart. This thing is useless. Hyde was originally indifferent to the strong twisting force on his body, but after a while, he immediately felt something was wrong, and a cyan whirlwind blew him away, hitting the key switch that opened the grayer mine. Must you use the same power to cause real damage? It feels like a ghost. You say Naruto is stupid, but his combat instinct is quite sharp. After a few fights, he realized that he must use the same power to defeat Hyde. The grayer stone on Hyde's glove is also crucial. It seems that absorbing the power of the mind depends on that. Hyde struggled to stand up and prepared to use the same trick to absorb the power of the grayer mind to recover from his injuries. Perhaps because the grayer stone on the glove was broken, or because the cyan Rasengan, which was also the power of grayer, caused him irreparable damage, Hyde fell down directly. The key to the vein that was hit also shattered at this time. The originally peaceful sealed room suddenly shook. Naruto, Timothy and Heian looked at the collapsed top in shock, and saw a large area of grayer vein that was as thick as liquid. How could this happen? That's grayer's vein, the source of life. Heian recognized what it was at a glance, but Naruto didn't care about that. The current situation was obviously a bit wrong. Hey, Grandpa, what on earth is going to happen? Then he heard Heian's horrified explanation. Because the key to the vein door was destroyed, the seal was lifted, and the vein was about to go out of control. Hyde is really no match for him. Without Grayer's power, his overall level is only slightly better than a Chunin, and not much better than his subordinates. In fact, we can roughly judge the level of this opponent from Naruto's age. Although he has mastered advanced ninjutsu such as Shadow Clone Technique and Rasengan, Naruto's overall combat power seems to be only slightly better than a Chunin. In this case, don't expect Hyde's strength to be that strong. I always feel that the setting of this seal is very strange. Why can Hyde absorb the power of the vein without turning on the switch? Why is the seal lifted when the switch is destroyed? The function of the switch should not only be a seal. For example, it can adjust the output of Grayer's power under the control of the royal family. As for the fact that the seal is lifted when the switch is destroyed, it is probably because the sealing technique in ancient times was not developed enough. Chapter 60. Outside the temple, Sakura and Shikamaru, who had dealt with the enemy, rescued the children in the fortress, but they were unable to regain consciousness. Timothy hurriedly asked Heian what would happen if the mine ran wild, and then heard such a terrible answer. I don't know, but judging from the scale of the destroyed empire, half of the continent may be destroyed. What? Half of the continent? Hey. This power is a bit terrifying. Even the tailed beasts may not have such destructive power. Judging from the range of Naruto and his friends' activities, this half is almost the area of the Wind Country, the Fire Country, and the Earth Country. Oh, that means the Lightning Country and the Water Country won. All the countries and forces within this range immediately became restless, with Konoha Sand Village, Rock Village, and Rain Village as the representative. Even Nagato, who has always been confident in his Samsara eye, did not think that he could survive the power that destroyed half of the continent. Timothy then asked Heian how to stop the mind from going out of control, and learned that the only way was to use the spiritual ritual array on the floor. People with royal blood can summon a time-space cave that sucks everything in, but the caster will also be swallowed by it. So that's it. Timothy stood up, and Naruto also understood what he meant, and immediately said to Heian anxiously, Grandpa, there is no way to survive. Unexpectedly, Timothy walked directly behind Naruto and knocked him out. Let me make amends, I'll leave everyone in your hands. Timothy. Seeing Timothy walking alone towards the ritual array and being drowned by the pouring power of Grayer, Heian had no choice but to hold Naruto's arm and leave the sealed room. It feels exactly the same as the story of Wulyan. Both require the sacrifice of one person to stop the disaster. If that's the case, then Timsy will definitely not sacrifice next. Naruto will definitely be able to save him. No way, this is not a specific enemy like Wulyan. What should Naruto do to save Timsy, who was sucked into the cave of time and space? Outside the temple, with the help of Kankuro, the rescue work is about to be completed. However, because the situation below is unclear, Shikamaru dare not go down rashly and can only pray for Naruto in his heart. Timsy held the previous fragment of Grell in his hand and blocked the torrent of Grell's power falling from the sky. He successfully walked into the ritual formation and opened the cave of time and space with a mentality of dying. Suddenly, the picture on the sky changed. In the darkness, on the withered grass, two figures were walking towards each other. They were Naruto and Sasuke. The two walked towards each other expressionlessly and without saying a word, then crossed each other and walked in opposite directions with their backs to each other. Then Naruto opened his eyes, and it turned out that what he had just seen was just a dream. Sasuke. Sasuke-kun. Oh, this guy is Uchiha Sasuke. He looks pretty handsome. What does it mean that Naruto dreamed of Uchiha Sasuke here? Back to back. Heading in opposite directions? Expressionless? Bad relationship. Is it hinting at Uchiha Sasuke's death? One is for life and the other for death. You can understand it this way. It feels like everyone has been full of malice towards Uchiha Sasuke since the sky curtain appeared. Why do they all think he's dead? Can't this mean that he and Naruto are on opposite paths in life? Unless the sky curtain broadcasts the specific content, this kind of speculation without a definite answer is meaningless. This matter is obviously not something that can be answered by analysis. Sasuke left the barbecue restaurant and came to the Uchiha training ground alone. Now his mood is similar to that of Naruto before. After being labeled dead many times, he doesn't feel anything. To be honest, compared to seeking revenge on Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke felt that changing his future of death was not a difficult thing, because his brother was obviously much scarier than death. The black mist exuding an ominous aura permeated the canyon, and even swallowed a land fortress that was embedded in the ruins. In the ritual formation, Timothy sat calmly on the only remaining small piece of land, until everything could no longer support him, and Timothy let his body fall without any resistance. And until this moment, the face of Hyde still appeared in his mind. That's enough. The kind and gentle Hyde in the fantasy did not exist from the beginning, and Timothy completely abandoned these memories, and calmly welcomed his own death. His arm was grabbed by something. Timothy looked up in astonishment, and saw Naruto and his shadow clones connected in a string, and rushed directly into the cave of time and space. Timothy, hold my hand tight. No, it's exactly the same as last time. Even the method of saving people has not changed. No, it feels much more dangerous this time than last time. I can still struggle after entering the body of the monster, but if I fall into the cave of time and space, I will die. Are you kidding me? It was a beautiful girl last time, but I didn't expect that Naruto would not let go of even good-looking boys. Is it necessary to fight so hard? Although I have guessed this development before, I still want to say, it's really you're in luck, Naruto. Does anyone remember that Naruto and his team's initial mission was just to find a ferret and send it home? Hoha, the current situation seems to have no problem with an S-level rating. Old man Heian made a lot of money. Are you stupid? You'll die. Timsy cursed in disbelief, and Naruto rudely retorted, I'm so annoyed, hold on tight. Timsy, who only wanted to atone for his mistakes, was unwilling to let Naruto fall into such a dangerous situation. Enough. Stop it, you will be sucked in too. But for Naruto, who already regarded Timsy as a partner, abandoning his partner was absolutely unacceptable. No. I can't die like this. Besides, I don't want to lose my partner anymore. Naruto's sincere words rekindled hope in Timsy's heart, and the hand that was caught also tightened Naruto's arm in turn. Even if you consider Timothy a partner, you don't have to say it so corny. How can you make it sound like a confession? Naruto is so stupid. He probably can't tell the difference between love and friendship. Otherwise, Shyamaru wouldn't have given that kind of answer last time. Naruto looked at his every move on Shyamaru with shining eyes. He didn't think there was anything wrong with risking his life to save people. The word partner explained everything. For him who had just escaped from the abyss of loneliness, Having a new partner was more worthy of joy than learning new ninjutsu and defeating powerful enemies, not to mention that he had already done all these in the future. Yoshi. I have to work harder next time. I can't be outdone by my future self. Naruto cheered himself up in high spirits. No one said anything to spoil the fun at this time. They all made up their minds to work hard and never fall behind Naruto too much. Chapter 61. The cave of time and space disappeared after swallowing up the gray ore vein and the ritual array. The bare mountain walls around it instantly grew lush trees under the influence of the remaining gray power. Sakura and Shikamaru, who were worried about Naruto, looked at the changes around them in surprise, and then learned about the incident from Hien, who had escaped by chance. The revival of life. The little power leaked when the ore vein was destroyed produced such a big effect. Thanks to it, everything was healed. Hien had a look of relief on his face after escaping death. When he saw the equally energetic snow ferret, he happily hugged it. Although I haven't seen the other applications that Hien mentioned, this healing ability alone is already very valuable. No matter if it's valuable or not, as long as the three countries of wind, earth and fire don't want to be blown up to the sky for no reason, they will definitely do their best to find the location of this mineral vein. Alice, I just hope that the countries will be a little calmer in the future and never turn it into a war. The unconscious child who was rescued woke up under the power of Greer. Timsy opened his eyes, and his originally red eyes turned green. After confirming that he was still in the previous ruins and his body was completely healed by Greer's power, Timsy sat up, and then found that his right hand was still tightly held by the sleeping Naruto. Suddenly, a slight cracking sound came into his ears. Timsy looked in the direction of the sound, and saw that the mural that Hien had called the Scroll of Despair before was shattered, revealing a peaceful scroll behind it with two people looking at each other in a friendly manner and holding hands in the sun. This. Timothy looked at the painting in surprise. Isn't it a painting of despair? Looking at the two people shaking hands in the painting, and then looking at Naruto and himself holding hands, Timothy smiled gently. Although they are two boys, this scene doesn't feel out of place at all. This kind of pure friendship is also great. Of course, if it's a beautiful girl like Shien, it's another kind of feeling. If you have the opportunity to become friends with Naruto in the future, please cherish it. This guy will really fight for this relationship. The scene comes to a seaside. Timothy and the survivors of this incident are busy loading goods onto the ship. They are going to return to the continent where they lived before to build their utopia. Hien and his caravan did not choose to leave with Timothy. After all, they have been separated for a long time. As a tribe member, they just need to cheer them on. Of course, it would be better if Nilugu didn't go with them. The ship set sail. Timothy stood on an observation deck and watched the land gradually receding. Under the breeze, he calmly looked at the land that changed the fate of himself and others, and the person who stood on the top of the towering rock and changed himself. Naruto smiled and watched his friend leave. The two clenched their fists at each other and brought their own blessings. The story ended, and the sky darkened. Hyde turned his attention back to Timothy, and no longer said anything heartbreaking. He ordered the three female knights, lock him up first, maybe there will be a place to use his blood later, and then let the fleet go at full speed, and make sure to reach that continent in the shortest time. The movements of Hyde and others were naturally unknown to the ninja world. Everyone was still discussing the second story of the sky. It's over now. I don't think it's as exciting as last time, after all, it's not the first time. Plus, today's opponent is average, so it's not as exciting as last time, but the subsequent impact should be greater than that of Wullion. After all, it's a force that can destroy half of the continent, and it may even cause a war or something. In fact, the force that can destroy half of the continent is just what Hien said. How credible it is not known at all. It's similar to the verbal existence of the perfect Wullion. Well, why is there no hint of the next keyword on the sky today? Hey, the sky is bright again. In the dense forest, Shikamaru, Naruto, Neji, Kiba and Choji kept jumping and moving forward quickly among the trees. Sasuke. Naruto hurried on with a worried look on his face, while muttering Sasuke's name in his heart. What's going on? Is there a follow-up? That's not right. The personnel composition is different, and the surrounding environment doesn't match. From Naruto's reaction, this group's mission should be related to Sasuke. It should be another story? There are two stories today. But why is it someone from Konoha again? Shikamaru looked at himself who appeared on the screen again with disdain. He was glad that he didn't get to play a big role in the previous story because of Naruto, but now it's happening again. Kiba didn't have the same psychological burden as Shikamaru. After seeing himself appear on the stage, he cheered excitedly and pointed at Naruto and said with high spirits, "Watch out, Naruto. Next is my turn. Don't think I'll let you take the spotlight alone, stupid Kiba. Can't you see I'm up there too? You just need to watch me show off my skills, don't hold me back." Naruto retorted, and the two people whose emotions were ignited immediately returned to the factory settings and started arguing. Choji's emotions were a bit complicated. He was happy that he appeared on the sky, but he was also afraid that he would be ridiculed if he did not perform well. Only Neji was as calm as ever. The scene changed, and a team of 4 Konoha Jonin were resting in the forest. Suddenly they sensed the breath of some strangers. Out of caution, Shiranu Genjin and Bizulidao went to investigate, and soon they intercepted the sound 4 who were carrying a coffin barrel. "You are Orochimaru's." Bizulidao recognized the identities of the 4 people, and Shiranu Genjin judged that the other party came from Konoha based on their direction of advance, so he asked, "What's in that barrel?" The 4 naturally had no intention of answering the question. Because they were in a hurry, they activated the curse seal and entered State 1, ready to quickly defeat their opponents. The 4 protectors these people are Sound Ninjas. What? Subordinates of Orochimaru? Was Sound Ninja founded by Orochimaru? The patterns on these people are a kind of curse seal technique. It wouldn't be surprising if they were Orochimaru's subordinates, so Naruto and his team's mission here is to rescue Sasuke. No wonder we haven't seen Sasuke since then. It turns out that he was kidnapped by Orochimaru, eh? In other words, Naruto and his team failed in this mission. It's normal for ninjas to fail in their missions. Why do you think Naruto won't fail? After all, he appeared on the sky, I thought. It's probably because of the influence of the first 2 stories. Naruto can successfully complete such dangerous missions, so everyone thinks he won't fail. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62. Sasuke was originally going to practice Shuriken after the Sky Curtain ended, but he stopped after seeing the new content playing on the Sky Curtain, and then saw the speculation in the barrage. "So I didn't die, but was kidnapped by that Orochimaru." Although he was slightly relieved that he was not dead, Sasuke's understanding of the 3 ninjas was limited to a little description in the textbook. He was not very clear about who Orochimaru was, so he couldn't relax completely. "Anyway, as long as I am not dead, it's fine. As for the reason why Orochimaru took me away, I will find a way to investigate it later." Everyone who had made up for the cultural courses after the first Sky Curtain knew that Orochimaru was one of the 3 ninjas, but they didn't know more about the inside story. So Sakura looked at Kakashi nervously and asked, "Teacher Kakashi, isn't Orochimaru one of the 3 ninjas in Konoha? Why are the Sound Ninjas his subordinates? Why did he capture Sasuke?" Kakashi touched his chin with a serious expression, and after a moment of silence, he said, "Orochimaru is indeed one of the 3 ninjas, but he defected from Konoha a few years ago because of some forbidden experiments. As for the reason for capturing Sasuke, I think it might be for his Sharingan. Damn guy. Why didn't the 3rd-generation grandfather send someone to capture him back, so that he wouldn't have the idea of shooting Sasuke?" Naruto said angrily. For his naive idea, Kakashi could only helplessly wake him up. Unfortunately, no one in Konoha now is sure to defeat Orochimaru. Even the 3rd generation himself may not be his opponent. A little panicked by Kakashi's words, Naruto said excitedly, "Can we just watch him take Sasuke away?" "No, although it is impossible to defeat Orochimaru easily, but he is evenly matched with him. There is also an opponent, that is Jiraiya-sama, who is also one of the 3 ninjas. Besides, isn't Sasuke still staying in Konoha? We can also prepare in advance." Kakashi comforted, and Naruto's emotions calmed down. As the subject of discussion, Orochimaru stopped his work and looked at the sky, and said to himself in a hoarse voice, "Uchiha Sasuke, it seems that he is the new container I have chosen. It's just that it shouldn't be time for him to change the container now. It seems that something happened later that forced him to carry out this plan in advance. Does everyone have a curse seal?" Looking at the patterns on the 4 people, Shiranugema made a judgment based on the existing information. Benzurito was still upset about his mistake in the previous Chunin exam, so he said bluntly, "Don't you plan to answer? We won't be the same as the last time you ambushed us." Teuaya, who had the worst temper among the four, immediately retorted, "Shut up, scum. Prepare to die. Orochimaru's toys, don't underestimate the ninjas of Konoha." Shiranugema and Sakuen on the opposite side took action at the same time, and the battle between the two sides broke out instantly. Kato, who was on his way, suddenly sniffed and reported to Shikamaru that he smelled blood nearby. Seeing that Shiranugema and Benzurito had not returned for a long time, Shizune and Daiwashi, who felt a little strange, followed the direction they left and soon found the two people who were seriously injured and fell to the ground. Puff. Ho ha ho ha, this turn of events is so funny. Don't underestimate the ninjas of Konoha, and then just lie there. Are these two guys here to make fun of me? They are exactly the same, Genma, Shiranyu and Yuishi. These three have all served as guards for the Hokage, but they were actually defeated by Orochimaru's men. The third Hokage frowned, feeling a little headache about this apprentice who had not made any moves for several years. Orochimaru, what do you want to do? Discovering that the injuries of the two were very serious, Shizune quickly gave them emergency treatment. Juishi originally wanted to chase the enemy alone, but was immediately stopped by Shizune. At this time, Shiranugema also woke up and said with lingering fear, "The techniques of those guys are no longer in the scope of ninjas. You will die if you chase them alone." "What do you mean by no longer in the scope of ninjas? What on earth has Orochimaru come up with? Is this guy exaggerating his opponent's strength to cover up his failure? Don't speculate about this kind of thing. False information will kill your companions. After all, he was a member of the Shadow Guard. He won't lie to save his face." So the current situation is that the two Jonin are no match, and Shikamaru and his combination of 1 Chunin and 4 Jonin go to rescue Sasuke. No wonder it failed. Jounin. Traji shook his body nervously. Are we going to save Sasuke from these people? It seems that the manpower was quite insufficient at that time, otherwise it would not be such a staffing configuration. Shikamaru put away the nonchalant expression on his face and analyzed it seriously. "Keep reading, I hope to get more information." Asuma patted Dingsey's shoulder to calm him down. There are too many possibilities for this kind of story without a beginning or an end, and it is impossible to predict which direction things will develop. On the side of the team led by Shikamaru, Yak understood the enemy's movements through the smell. Based on his report, Shikamaru concluded that Sasuke left the village because someone was waiting for him. While secretly feeling that things were getting troublesome, he also quickly turned his brain to formulate an action plan and analyze the pros and cons. Finally, after thinking about it, he gave up intelligence collection and chose to pursue directly. Despite this, Shikamaru did not rush in directly. Based on this action, he calmly analyzed the possible responses of the enemy. Since a battle has occurred, the enemy will definitely be on high alert. Of course, they must also consider the possibility of pursuing ninjas. In this way, there is a high probability of encountering traps or ambushes ahead. Based on this analysis, Shikamaru reminded everyone to be alert and cautious, but for Naruto, it basically went in one ear and out the other. He said impatiently, "Okay. If I see it, I will use my new trick to beat them to pulp." New trick. What will it be? Choose between Shadow Clone and Rasengan. Naruto has only used these two tricks so far. It's so funny. Shikamaru said so much, but Naruto didn't listen to a word he said. "I'm more interested in the two newcomers in this team. If I'm not mistaken, the leader with the puppy should be from the Inuzuka clan. You're interested in their intelligence. One is from the Inuzuka clan, and the other one should be from the Akimichi clan based on his attire and body shape. No Yamanaka clan? Why don't they gather the Inoshika-jo?" From the personnel configuration, it can be seen that Konoha is very short of manpower. If this lineup encounters Orochimaru's men, several people will die. No, none of these 5 people will die. If I remember correctly, these people appeared in the first sky curtain, although it was just a flash in the picture. Should I say that Konoha's Jonin is too strong, or that the Jonin is too weak? Why do you always do things that go against common sense? Chapter 63. Naruto, I learn a new move every time I see him. I thought I had already caught up with him. Kiba was very concerned about the new trick that Naruto said, and his face was slightly unwilling. Naruto looked at Kiba with some surprise. "Kiba, you admire me so much? You actually regard me as your target?" Kiba was so excited that his face turned red. Impossible. Who would admire Naruto? But that's what you think on the sky? A fake. It's a fake. I must have been under an illusion. Kiba covered his face, embarrassed to the point of wanting to run away, but Hong spoke up to save him. Since you feel embarrassed, then work harder next time, but I think it's not a bad thing to admit that you are not as good as others like on the sky. Asuma was slightly amused's interruption. It should be that you lost to Naruto in the Chunin exam. If you don't want to repeat the same mistake, listen to Hong and train hard. It's not long before this year's Chunin exam. I will definitely train hard, and then beat Naruto hard in the Chunin exam. He said with gritted teeth, and Naruto shook his head in disdain. Useless teeth. Since the future Naruto can beat you, I am definitely no problem now. Then you just wait. I will beat you until you dare not say such nonsense again. Because they found a trap in the bushes, they changed their route and started from the ground. Although there are some exquisite traps on the ground that slow down the advance speed, Shikamaru analyzed that the enemy may be resting based on the layout. After confirming this through Niji's Byakugan, the team members cheered up and prepared to show their skills. Don't worry, wait until my combat preparations are complete, then we will go to contact the target. Shikamaru also changed his usual nonchalant attitude, stood in front of the team with one hand on his waist and said seriously. Shikamaru, this guy, is obviously the same age as Shikamaru, but he gives people the feeling of being the teacher of others. Niji can also keep up with Shikamaru's thinking. He deserves to be a Jonin in a few years. A newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. The self-confidence of a group of Jonin seems to be stronger than the two Jonin before. The four people sent by Orochimaru to find clues about Rare were also paying attention to the development of the story on the sky. After seeing Naruto and his friends rubbing their hands and eager to try, Sakon sneered and said, "We are really underestimated. I didn't think so before, but now I feel that these guys are annoying. If you meet them later, just kill them all." Kidamaru said with a grim smile. It seems that he is quite dissatisfied with the fact that he and others appeared on the sky. After all, Naruto has always played a positive role, so as the opposing party, their identities are self-evident. The four people who were tracked were panting at this time, sitting on the ground weakly to rest. Through their conversation, we learned that in the previous battle with the two Konoha Jonin, the four of them activated State 2 to quickly end the battle, but the sequelae brought about by this was that the four of them were in a situation of weakness and excessive consumption of limbs. It seems that this kind of strengthening method is now a trend, and everyone has mastered similar tricks. Orochimaru's skills seem to be better, and the sequelae are just exhaustion. This ability is quite useful in most situations. If the opponent is in this state, I feel that Shikamaru and his team are not without a chance. There are some possibilities. After all, it is impossible to arrange a mission with a 0 success rate. Shikamaru himself evaluated his arrangement very soberly. Too risky? The success rate of a plan arranged without knowing anything about the enemy can be imagined. It's just a matter of trade-offs. There's nothing wrong with sacrificing a little safety to complete the mission. Niji's attitude is very objective. After all, there is no perfect plan. As long as the captain does not issue too outrageous orders, the team members just need to execute them seriously. On the pursuit team side, Shikamaru was giving the final instructions to everyone, and then the team split into two groups and approached the enemy. Just after confirming that Sasuke was in the coffin carried by the four people, Shikamaru and his team were immediately discovered by the enemy. Although Kiba reacted quickly and threw a smoke bomb, the enemy didn't care at all. Hehe, what's the use of your smoke bomb? You will never escape from my palm. Through the smoke, Kidamaru manipulated the silk thread in his hand and explained, this silk thread is thinner and tougher than steel wire and is almost imperceptible to the naked eye. These furry have already covered the whole area with these threads. Why do these villains like to explain their abilities so much? Why have I never met such an opponent? It is naturally stupid to simply introduce your own abilities, but sometimes this method can also intimidate the opponent. There are good and bad sides. It depends on how you choose. Damn it. It was discovered so easily. Naruto pounded his palm with an irritated look. Ever since he learned that Sasuke was kidnapped by these people, his mood has been wrong. Especially after learning that this mission would fail, this change became more obvious. Kakashi saw this and comforted him. Naruto, stay calm. This has not happened yet, and if I am not mistaken, Shikamaru should have a backup plan. Shikamaru realized belatedly that there was a deeper trap hidden in the ingenious trap set by the enemy before. Fortunately, being discovered by the enemy did not affect his plan. At this time the smoke dissipated, and Shikamaru's shadow had quietly controlled the four people. Everything went according to Shikamaru's plan, and Naruto shouted excitedly, "Well done, Kiba! Shikamaru! Shadow imitation technique, success! Hey, Naruto, why are you stealing Shikamaru's lines? How can you make him show off like this?" Ha ha ha, a common problem of high IQ ninjas. They always can't help but explain to the enemy after the plan is successful. No, is this also a plan? A smoke bomb plus a shadow imitation technique? Exclamation mark. I think I can do it too. Why doesn't it count? As long as the goal can be achieved, the simpler the plan is, the better. Don't think that the words adapting to local conditions are as simple as writing them out. The performance of Orochimaru's subordinates is not bad. If it were an ordinary team, they would have basically finished here. To survive the hands of a pervert like Orochimaru, you can tell that he is not an ordinary character. Chapter 64. It's a pity that we have someone with my ability here, and I took the bait honestly. Thank you. Shikamaru lowered his eyelids slightly, and said to the people in front of him with a smile on his face. However, the four people are different from the enemies they have encountered in the past. Not only are their abilities rare and strange, but their combat experience alone is not comparable to that of the ninjas living in the peaceful ninja village. Yukin, who possessed Sakuan's body, only shot a shuriken to break Shikamaru's binding technique. Not only that, Shikamaru and the other four were trapped by the earth escape barrier, Tsuchido Ryumu, cast by Jirabo. How did the shuriken come out? These people should be unable to move, right? Sure enough, they are still inexperienced. They were countered so easily. Hey! A head grew out of the back of the one with the gray hair. I've never seen this kind of technique before. Maybe it's a new technique created by Orochimaru. The raised earth mound enveloped the 5 members of the pursuit team. The caster Jirabo absorbed the chakra of the people in the barrier through contact with the earth mound. The other 3 members of the force saw this and took the coffin bucket to go ahead. Inside the barrier, Kiba tried to destroy the earth mound but was unable to do so because the damaged parts under the action of chakra would repair themselves. At the same time, Niji also discovered that his and others' chakra were being absorbed. Okay, the first piece of information is obtained. This fat guy's ability is to absorb chakra. The defense of this earth wall is much stronger than it looks. The kid from the Inuzuka family attacked so fiercely, but he only made such a small gap. It might not work if Niji took action. The soft fist developed for living things is far less harmful to dead things than the steel fist. If it was Sakura who grew up, she would probably only need one punch to break this barrier. Maybe she could just send the fat guy outside away with one punch. Damn it. I haven't even started to show my skills yet, but I'm trapped by that fat guy's earth escape. You looked at the sky curtain with dissatisfaction. Sakura's eyes moved away from him and turned to Shikamaru, Choji, Niji and Naruto one by one. She looked at the barrage on the sky curtain again, which felt a little unreal. Although it has been less than a month since graduation, after understanding each other during this period, Sakura clearly knows that she should be the bottom of the group in terms of combat. But she is trusted by so many strangers in the future, and even compared with people like Niji who have their own strengths. No wonder Kakashi thinks she has been a little erratic recently. The 5 people whose chakras were absorbed gradually lost their strength. Shikamaru looked ugly and knew that he had made a mistake. Seeing that Kiba and Naruto's attacks had failed, Shikamaru suddenly told Jirabo outside that he wanted to give up the mission and hoped that he could let them go. Naruto and Kiba looked at Shikamaru in disbelief, but it was a pity that Jirabo, who was determined to absorb all their chakras, would not agree to his request. Then, even if it's just one person, just let me go out alone. Shikamaru said something shocking and irresponsible. This kind of battle makes me feel so troubled. Shikamaru has a solution. Isn't it obvious? No one thinks that begging for mercy from the enemy in this situation can save them, especially from the Nara family. People of the Nara family, you don't know which of their words and deeds are part of their strategy. Sometimes just saying something can become the key to their breakthrough. I feel that Inuzuka Kiba's personality is similar to Naruto's. They are both reckless and impulsive. Could it be because of their family ninjutsu? After all, they want to turn themselves into beasts. It's not hard to understand their wildness. Can Naruto use the Rasengan in this environment? We got some useful information. What's the use of this information? Let's not talk about whether you can build a similar environment. As long as the control of chakra is improved, the problem of not being able to use ninjutsu can be solved in minutes. Wake up. If you don't have a smart head or hard power that exceeds Naruto, it's better not to attack him. Don't forget that there is a monster hidden in his body. You bastard. Do you know what you are talking about? Kiba instantly became furious and questioned Shikamaru. Hearing the sound of infighting in the barrier, Jiraiya laughed at them wantonly, saying that people will reveal their true nature in critical moments, and scum like Shikamaru deserves to die. Fatty, you actually abandoned companion, what a scumbag. Fatty, I'm going to teach you a lesson for not valuing your companions. Fatty, I will never forgive you for abandoning your companions. Ha ha ha. Right. That's how I feel now, it's so funny. Although it's not impossible for Orochimaru's subordinates to say this kind of line, it feels so awkward. Naruto should say it. No, Naruto's performance here is not up to par, he actually doubts his companions. I won't doubt my companions, I always believe in Shikamaru's arrangements. Naruto expressed his attitude shamelessly. Shikamaru looked at him speechlessly. You raised your hand to question me when you saw me say I was going to give up the mission. Jirabo's insults lingered in his ears. Choji frowned and recalled what Shikamaru said before he set out. Then I will emphasize one last point. Sasuke is a ninja of Konoha like us. He is our companion, so we must rescue him no matter what. This is what Konoha ninjas do. As the person who knows Shikamaru best among the people present, Choji stopped Naruto and Kiba from arguing, took out snacks and started eating them crazily. At the same time, Shikamaru also made a strange hand seal and closed his eyes to think. What are you doing? Hand seals? Have you never seen such hand seals? Shikamaru can also say such nice words. It feels a bit strange to hear such words from Shikamaru's dead eyes. Sasuke was also a little surprised to hear such words from Shikamaru. To be honest, he was only a little touched, but more of an awkward feeling filled his heart. Shikamaru, the person involved, scratched his face in embarrassment. Fortunately, everyone present was attracted by Naruto and Kiba. The two were arguing about how they had nothing in common. Chapter 65. Naruto and Kiba didn't understand what the two were doing, so they were unwilling to follow Shikamaru's plan after he came up with it. Fortunately, Choji's reminder reminded them of what Shikamaru had said before, and the two of them calmed down. So everyone found the weakest point in the barrier under Niji's Byakugan observation, and then with Choji's powerful attack, they successfully broke the barrier and escaped. The five of them faced Jiraiya, who looked grim. Shikamaru praised Choji beside him. Choji, you are indeed the best partner. They were trapped in such a simple technique for so long. Should I praise this fat guy or criticize Naruto and the others for being too weak? As I said, as long as it is practical, simplicity is not a problem, whether it is a strategy or ninjutsu. Should I say he is worthy of being the partner of Ino Shikajo? Even though Shikamaru didn't say anything, Choji started to cooperate consciously. Well done. Shikamaru, Choji. Let them see how powerful Ino Shikajo is. Ino clenched her fists excitedly. Unaccustomed to her smug look, Kiba curled his lips and muttered, You haven't even appeared yet, why are you so excited? The sharp-eared Ino heard Kiba's complaints and glanced at him with disdain. So what if you appeared? Are you dragging us down like you and Naruto? Hey! Why do you want to involve me? Even though they escaped the enemy's barrier, the people who had absorbed a lot of chakra could not easily defeat Jiraiya, especially after fighting with the opponent. Shikamaru confirmed this. There is no time, let's act separately. If we delay any longer, we will not be able to catch up with Sasuke. Shikamaru came to this conclusion based on the analysis of the enemy's combat power. Ninji, you will be the vice captain, take Kiba and Choji to continue moving forward, and let Naruto and I deal with him. Jiraiya laughed at Shikamaru's ninjutsu and tactical arrangements with a nonchalant look on his face, and Choji was immediately angry when he heard him repeatedly insulting his friend. Leave it to me. Choji looked at Jiraiya with his eyes wide open. I'll deal with this guy. Another guy who looks down on the secret techniques of the Nara family. With this development, they are not going to use a one-on-one tactic. This fat guy's earth escape ninjutsu is of a very high level. Does Choji have a chance of winning? The Akimichi clan is a physical ninja. Because they can change their body shape, their attack power is very high. The fat guy's ability is to absorb chakra and add earth escape. There is no obvious restraint between the two sides. The outcome depends on their respective strengths. In terms of hard power, Choji is weaker than his opponent. Judging from the fact that they were able to defeat 2 Jonins before, the fat guy's strength is at least equal to 0.5 Jonins. Ha. Who taught you to convert strength like this? When did Jonin become a unit of measurement? Shikamaru obviously didn't expect Choji to say this. He didn't realize Choji's plan until he handed him the Hiraiyo. Naruto didn't understand the interaction between the two. Even if Choji said he had a special trick, he didn't think he could defeat his opponent. However, Choji's attitude at this time was unusually firm. Why did we gather together? If Sasuke really left the country, then we would be like he said, an idiot captain with a group of idiots. Choji, remember to catch up. Feeling his determination, Shikamaru stopped trying to stop him and continued to chase the enemy with the other 3. What special move can allow a Jonin to fight a Jonin? Does anyone who knows the Akimichi clan know what this is about? Maybe it's the Akimichi clan's secret medicine. Shikamaru looked at Choji with wide eyes. That thing can't be taken casually. Choji was no longer nervous at this time, and nodded calmly. I heard from my father that there will be great side effects, but since I am allowed to carry it, it means that there may be occasions for use. What are you talking about? I don't understand a word. What is Choji's special move? Naruto interrupted, but the few people who knew the situation did not answer. Kakashi signaled him to keep quiet and pay attention to the progress of the Shinmu story. HMPH. I'll kill you first, and then I'll deal with them right away. Jiraiya said with disdain, and then rushed straight to Choji. Faced with the enemy's fierce attack, Choji took out 3 pills from his ninja tool bag and ate the green one. Although he noticed Choji's move, Jiraiya didn't pay much attention to it, but he didn't expect that his powerful attack would be intercepted by his opponent. The trick is really it's this. This medicine is so powerful, it can improve a Jonin's strength so much. If every Jonin in Konoha carries this medicine, it won't be a problem to conquer the ninja world. Hey! Don't bring hatred to our Konoha. That thing is specially formulated according to the physique of the Akimichi clan, and other people can't use it at all. Jiraiya didn't expect that Choji's strength was even greater than he imagined. He was caught by his belt and thrown out. The enemy was successfully intercepted, but Choji's own condition was not very good. The side effects of the secret medicine exceeded expectations, and severe abdominal pain acted on him. On the pursuit team, the other 3 learned the effects of the 3 color pills from Shikamaru. Shikamaru, who chose not to tell them the side effects of the secret medicine, could only hide his worries in his heart and pray that Choji could quickly resolve the enemy. If possible, I hope that only the green pill can solve it. But don't touch the red pill anyway, Choji. What will happen if I take the red pill? Will I die? The side effects occur at the same time as the strengthening effect? This is a bit difficult to deal with. The strength has increased, and maybe it also has the effect of enhancing chakra? Even though they didn't know the side effects of the secret medicine, Kiba and Neji expressed their concerns about Choji. After all, the opponent was not an ordinary person, and Shikamaru didn't deny this. That's right. This mission is not a joke. We have to risk our lives to execute it. Dispersing the enemy is really the worst choice. I know this. But if we don't do this, we won't be able to catch up with Sasuke if we fight one person at a time. After pondering for a moment, Shikamaru's eyes were full of trust. Choji is very generous, but he lacks confidence in himself. He always thinks he is weaker than all of us. We all know this. So that guy chose to stay first in order to help as much as possible. Kiba thought he saw through Choji's thoughts. Hearing this, Shikamaru showed an expression that he didn't expect. As expected, Inuzuka Kiba is very confident. Do you admit that you are stronger than Akimichi Choji? Although I know that the mission is not a joke, it is too dangerous to use a one-on-one tactic. Even if Sasuke is rescued, how many people will be left in the pursuit team? Is it worth it? It depends on the requirements of each village for the completion of the mission. If the mission is the top priority, the mission will not stop until the last person is dead. You are talking about Kurigakure, right? Chapter 66. Choji wrapped the kunai around his body, increasing the rotation and destructive power of the attack. Although Jiraiya was a little more serious and used Earth Escape to defend himself, he was still easily broken through and stabbed. Seeing that he was injured by the small fish that were regarded as food, Jiraiya was very angry. He activated the curse seal and hit Choji. You know, if there are 5 people traveling together, then one of them must be a waste. This waste is always regarded as a fool by everyone. When it comes to a critical moment, he is the first to be abandoned. And you are that kind of person. Looking at Choji, who was struggling to get up, Jiraiya sneered and mocked. Why does the fat guy's words sound strange? Is he talking about Choji? It sounds a bit like a self-narration. He is not talking about himself, is he? Aren't there only 4 people on their side? It doesn't make sense. Indeed, no matter how hard I try privately, Choji, who has no confidence, flashes through Asuma, I know, Naruto and Kiba's accusations in his mind. However, he was depressed, but when he heard Jiraiya insult Shikamaru, he instantly recovered his spirit. No, Shikamaru. Shikamaru has always trusted me and believed that I am really strong. With a fighting spirit, Choji took out the second yellow pill and swallowed it. That's why he was confident to leave this place to me alone. What's the matter with the relationship between your Konoha companions? Why do you all get excited as soon as this word is mentioned? Weak, discouraged, low spirits, or even seriously injured, as long as there is encouragement from companions, you can ignore everything, right? Kiba looked at Ino speechlessly and said, You are still talking about me, haven't you been scolding Choji all the time? How are they the same? That's an admonition to a friend, it's a concern. Ino argued loudly, then turned her head to look at Choji. Don't you think so, Choji? Oh, big, probably. Shikamaru told Kiba and others that Choji was stronger than anyone in the team, and Choji seemed to be responding to Shikamaru's trust. With the help of the chakra increased by the pill, he performed the super multiplication technique and turned into a giant to press Jiraiya under him. The trees within a radius of dozens of meters were crushed by Choji, but unfortunately Jiraiya, who entered the second state, blocked his attack and hit him hard in the chest and abdomen, directly knocking Choji back to his original form. What's wrong with his appearance? Choji, who fell to the ground, looked at the demonic appearance of Jiraiya in the second state in shock. Since I have become like this, you will definitely die. No one can defeat the second state whose power has increased by more than 10 times, Jiraiya looked at Choji viciously and said. Hiss. The power increased by more than 10 times, and the side effect was just a slight loss of strength? Or Orochimaru's curse is too strong? Why is he transforming again? Are all the ninjas who can't transform now forbidden to go out? How can Shikamaru and the others survive under such an enemy? Maybe they can't maintain it for a long time and rely on delaying tactics to get away. Even the yellow pill doesn't work. Do I really have to take the red pill? Shikamaru frowned and looked at the sky. Even though he knew that it was going to happen in the future, his heart felt like it was being pulled. The side effect of the blue pill occurred, and Choji was completely unable to stop Jiraiya's actions. The only chakra left in his body was sucked away, and even the last potato chip was snatched away by the opponent. Although Shikamaru has always believed that Choji will defeat the enemy and keep up with them, the situation at this time is powerless no matter how you look at it. Jiraiya was still blabbering and insulting Choji and his team. Choji looked at his arm raised towards him, recalling how he met Shikamaru, and silently thought, Sorry, Shikamaru, I can't chase you. But, even if I lose my life, I will defeat him. Choji took out the last red pill and swallowed it. What? After taking the red pill, you can defeat an enemy whose power has increased by more than 10 times. This is what Choji thinks. Otherwise, it would be more than just outrageous. It feels like Choji is working so hard not for the mission, but just to respond to Shikamaru's expectations. Although I'm not from Konoha, I also want to praise him, he's quite manly. Although it was a pity that it was not his highlight performance, after feeling Choji's determination, Yer couldn't help but hook his neck and exclaimed from the bottom of his heart, Choji. You're really good, Naruto. Also came to join in the fun, while Choji smiled foolishly and touched the back of his head, seeming to be uncomfortable with being praised. Shikamaru looked at this scene, feeling happy for Choji, but also a little guilty, if he hadn't relied on him too much. Asuma looked at Shikamaru's expression and knew that this smart subordinate seemed to want to take on the responsibility for the future, so he patted his shoulder to bring him back to his senses. Shikamaru, knowing that he almost got into a dead end, patted his forehead. Although it was troublesome, in order to prevent Choji from going to this point in the future, it seemed that he had to work harder. Jirabo's heavy palm crushed the ground within a radius of more than 10 meters, but Choji, who was originally unable to move, dodged the blow, and a huge amount of chakra condensed behind him to form the shape of butterfly wings. The situation changed. Jiraiya quickly turned around and threw a punch, but was blocked by Choji with one hand. It's useless. Choji raised his head, revealing his thin face, and said coldly, I am now 100 times stronger than before. Impossible. Chakra is so strong that it changes the body shape. Jiraiya looked at Choji's changes in shock, and then he turned around and hit him hard with an elbow and flew out. Finally, I understand why the Akimichi clan is the butterfly among the pigs, deer and butterflies. Huh? What's so strange about the Akimichi clan changing their shape? Do they think they can only grow bigger and not smaller? No. I don't know about this. When will the Akimichi clan lose weight? And they look good after losing weight. Why should we pay attention to such insignificant things as appearance? His strength improvement is the key. He is 100 times stronger. Is this number just a casual remark or true? If it is true, we need to re-evaluate the threat of the Akimichi clan. Hey. Choji has lost weight. Ino was also surprised at this time. Sure enough, compared to strength, appearance is more attractive to girls. Sakura and Tenten also looked carefully at Choji's chubby and silly face. Only Hinata paid attention to Naruto from beginning to end. Chapter 67. The resentment of having my food taken away is very terrifying. That blow just now was to teach you a lesson for taking away my last bite of food. Choji said condescendingly to Jiraiya, and then threw another punch at him, and this punch. You deserve to call me a discarded child and a fat pig. But the most unforgivable thing is that you insulted my best friend. This is more unforgivable than the resentment of having the last bite of any high-end dish taken away, more unforgivable than the resentment of you mocking me as a fat pig. Choji said as he walked to Jiraiya and stepped on his palm with his foot, and then gathered all the chakra in his body into his left hand. Jiraiya realized that something was wrong and was about to beg for mercy, but what responded to him was Choji's raw and merciless punch. This punch is heavier than life. Konoha's Jinan really refreshes my cognition again and again. Choji, who looks the least threatening among the 5 members of the team, explodes so amazingly. It turns out that the potato chips I just ate are also one of the reasons for defeating the enemy. Remember, don't touch the food of the Akimichi clan in the future. I was actually impressed by the handsomeness of a member of the Akimichi clan. No wonder they say fat people are hidden handsome guys. Well done. Choji. Beat up the guy who keeps saying bad things about you. Ino cheered excitedly, and the other Zyokiang were also infected by the emotion and became visibly excited. Only Shikamaru and Niji remained calm, because behind this victory, there is still a hurdle that Choji needs to cross. After defeating an unimaginable enemy, Choji staggered towards the direction where everyone left. After seeing the instructions left for him by the rest of the team, Choji sat down beside a tree with tears in his eyes and a look of satisfaction on his face. As he listened to his father's teachings, his breath gradually weakened. Dad, I also have a lot of trusted companions. I was so excited that I forgot about the red pill. No. Are you sure he really survived? Both Choji and Shikamaru have repeatedly stated that the red pill has serious side effects. Right, in this case, it's useless to rely on the trust of your companions. You can't say that your Konoha companions can really be used as medicine. By the way, did you forget someone? Shizune also appeared at the beginning of this story. Yes. Tsunade-sama must have returned to the village at that time. With her, the side effects of the red pill will definitely be solved. Tsunade looked at these comments speechlessly. Although she also treated some Akimichi people who ate chili pills during the war, the success rate of the treatment depends on the physical fitness of the injured person, so don't think she can handle any difficult and complicated diseases. Shikamaru was very clear-headed and did not put all his hopes on Tsunade. After the fact, remedies are always inferior to advanced preparations. The best way to deal with it is to nip the crisis in the bud. Shikamaru seemed to have sensed something, but his pace did not slow down at all. After noticing that there was not even a trap along the way, he knew that the enemy did not take them seriously at all. Naruto was very angry about this, but Shikamaru planned to use this to make a layout. What's with Shikamaru's reaction? He seems to know that something has happened to Choji. So your Konoha companions can not only be used as chicken blood, but also have telepathy with each other, right? I've had this experience before. It doesn't seem to be a rare thing. Sensing the sacrifice of a close person? Our village has done research on this phenomenon, but we didn't get any results. Hey, Naruto is really too easily excited. I wish the enemy would underestimate me, so that the mission would be much easier. Shikamaru transformed into Jiraiya and approached the enemy, but his identity was immediately exposed because of his inappropriate words. Kidamaru volunteered to stop the pursuit team, scolding Jiraiya for being useless, and spitting out very tough and sticky spider webs to trap Shikamaru and his companions one by one. I said that the fat guy's ridicule of Akimichi Traji before was his own personal experience. Don't expect a good working atmosphere if you work for someone like Orochimaru, another opponent who uses unconventional ninjutsu. The remaining two won't be like this. No wonder Konoha's Shiranyu Genma described these guys' ninjutsu as beyond the scope of ninjas, because they are too rare and weird. This opponent is even more weird. He has grown 6 arms, no longer in human form. The spider silk that even a Kune couldn't cut made everyone completely unable to move, and they could only watch Kidamaru defeat Naruto's shadow clones as if playing. Fortunately, Neji was calm enough. After seeing through the principle of the opponent's ninjutsu with his Byakugan, he used the soft fist to successfully untie the restraints on his body. Speaking of which, Shikamaru didn't arrange any countermeasures here. He simply used the transformation technique to approach the enemy. Even the Nara clan can't arrange everything, especially under the premise of lacking intelligence on the opponent. Traji's battle also affected Shikamaru. Maybe he was under too much pressure. So he is still too young. Ninji took advantage of Kidamaru's carelessness to repel him, and then quickly untied the restraints on his 3 companions. Seeing him cut his spider silk cleanly, Kidamaru asked with a slightly gloomy face, "How did you do it?" As long as it is a substance with chakra as its origin, it is not worth mentioning when facing the soft fist that can destroy chakra. Neji turned his back to Kidamaru and looked at him sideways, and said to his friends confidently, "You go first, I will deal with him." Cool. Neji, what's wrong with you Konoha ninjas? You all pose so coolly. Have you practiced it specially, so it's best to avoid playing tricks on the opponent after you have won the game? Any accident will ruin the good situation. If Orochimaru's subordinate didn't do those actions, wouldn't he be able to wipe out Shikamaru and the others? Not really. Naruto's body won't let this happen. As for Naruto himself, it's okay if he gets hurt. Anyway, his vitality is as strong as a cockroach. Chapter 68. Although Akamaru sensed that Kidamaru in front of him was more powerful than Jiraiya, in order to catch Sasuke before he left the country, a one-on-one strategy had to be adopted. Under Neji's persuasion and insistence, although they were still worried, the 3 of them also forced themselves to continue their journey. Kidamaru would naturally not let them have their way, but after Neji cut off the spider silk he spit out, he stopped trying to do useless work. That's good. It seems that you are the strongest among these people. Kidamaru sneered sinisterly. Really, you have aroused my playfulness again. After all, the game is only fun if you play slowly. I will play for 3 minutes before killing you. Is Neji the strongest in this team? Not sure, maybe Naruto is stronger. Well, if the two are put together, I feel that Neji is still stronger. Naruto's performance is too confusing. There is no way to accurately estimate his strength. But judging from the conversation between Neji and Naruto, I feel like he thinks he is weaker than the latter. Really? Isn't it just praising Naruto's brighter eyes? In the Hyuga clan, which is famous for its eyesight, what's the difference between this kind of praise and admitting defeat? No matter how strong he is, at least here Neji is the most suitable candidate to stop the enemy. Although the soft fist is more restrained against the opponent's ninjutsu, there is still Orochimaru's curse seal after all. The opponent's overall strength should still be above Neji, and the battle will not end easily. The upcoming battle has made the Zyokiangs all spirited, but Neji is more concerned about the words he said to Naruto on the sky screen. As the barrage said, praising eyes is a very high compliment in the Hyuga clan, and no matter how you look at it, his words are meaningful. Uzumaki Naruto, what did you do? Why did I become like that? Kidamaru instantly spit out a large amount of spider webs to tie up Neji tightly. He thought that this method could limit the use of the soft fist, but he didn't expect that Neji would break the spider webs on his body and recover his mobility when his attack was about to hide him. Instantly came in front of Kidamaru, who was still in an attacking posture, and Neji took the Bagwazang posture. Let me tell you, not only my hands, I can release chakra from the chakra points all over my body. And the game is over. A complete set of Bagwazang hit the opponent, but unfortunately Kidamaru formed a layer of hard shell on his body, which made Neji's attack ineffective. I thought the battle was over in an instant. Release chakra from all the chakra points in the body. If I can do this, can I use other moves of the Hyuga clan besides the soft fist, such as the Kaiten? Ha. If you want to die, just try it, if you are not afraid of breaking yourself into pieces. Without the cooperation of the Byakugan, no matter how high your chakra control is, it is useless. You are just playing with your life. The Kaiten move is not something that everyone in the Hyuga clan can learn. Niji's talent is also at the top level in the Hyuga clan. Hyuga Hayashi clenched his fists. When Niji repeatedly showed his powerful talent, he couldn't help but think more and more, if it was Hisashi who became the head of the family, would it be more appropriate? Tell him the truth after the curtain ends, no matter whether he chooses to forgive me later. Looking at the scroll in his hand that recorded the past history, Hyuga Hayashi made up his mind. The previous mistakes might not be made up, but at least he could make changes in this generation. Although he blocked Niji's acupuncture points by secreting spider sticky gold on his body, Kidamaru knew that he was still no match for the opponent in close combat, so he immediately changed his tactical thinking and hid in the surrounding bushes, intending to use the spider silk layout to control and attack Niji's blind spot from a distance. However, after all the attacks launched from behind Niji were deflected by his Kaiten, Kidamaru suddenly widened his eyes in surprise. How? How could it be? Exclamation mark. Does he have eyes on his back? And that defense, my attacks were actually deflected by his chakra. This is the level of Orochimaru's subordinates? They don't even recognize the Byakugan. From his previous description of the gentle fist, it seems to be like this. If Orochimaru hadn't mentioned it, he might not even recognize the gentle fist. One was defeated by Konoha's Jinan at the risk of his life, and one doesn't even recognize the Byakugan, a famous bloodline limit in the ninja world. It seems that the remaining two are not worth mentioning. According to what you said, aren't the two Jonin of Konoha even worse? If we look deeper, these two are also members of the Shadow Guard. Does that mean that the Hokage is actually not worth mentioning? In fact, I am more interested in the way this guy defends against the soft fist. According to his method, if I just put on a layer of armor, the Hyuga clan can't do anything to me, then you probably need to be fully armed from head to toe, and then you will die from a detonating tag. True. The detonating tag is the strongest, and the Byakugan soft fist is all out of the question. Although he doesn't understand the ability of the Byakugan, Kidamaru also changed his attack mode according to Niji's response. He first entered the state to increase his strength, and then used the spider summoned by the spirit and the spider silk all over the sky to block Niji's Kaiten, while he hid in the dark and waited for an opportunity to move. Here we go, everyone, copy the homework quickly, and don't be afraid of people from the Hyuga family in the future. I know how to break the ability of the Hyuga family without spending a single soldier. Thank you Orochimaru for the gift, you are so happy. How do you plan to achieve this situation? Can you also spin silk? I will find a spider-type summoning beast right away. I get goosebumps when I see these spiders. Although his personality and knowledge are not very good, this guy has a strong ability to adapt to changes. He figured out how to block Niji's moves in an instant. This guy is amazing, Niji calmly commented. Although his ninjutsu is relatively rare, it is not impossible to deal with it. But after changing the attack mode, I was restricted. This kind of opponent is actually the most suitable Shino. With his ability, he should be able to easily get rid of this guy. Yeah, who was familiar with his teammates' abilities, suddenly spoke up, and everyone noticed Shino, who had a very low sense of presence. So why wasn't I assigned to the pursuit team? Shino asked Shikamaru in a low voice, and Shikamaru smiled awkwardly, as if seeing the black air emanating from him. How do I know this? Did I tell you that I forgot? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. Faced with Kidamaru's overwhelming attack, Ning, who could not use the Kaiten defense, could only use the soft fist to intercept the opponent's attack again and again. While turning and moving, he used 64 palms to repel the attacking spiders one by one. However, Kidamaru's attack frequency was more than expected. Seeing this, Ningsi lowered his body deeply and took an unprecedented posture. 8 trigrams 128 palms. Does the Hyuga have this move? I remember that the highest seems to be 64. Is this their trump card? For Ningxi's new move, most other ninja villages just added it to the intelligence without much investigation, but they didn't know that it had caused an uproar in the Hyuga clan. The scroll in his hand was almost torn apart. Hyuga Hayashi involuntarily opened his eyes and looked at the sky. What is this? The highest level of the Bagua palm, which has been passed down from generation to generation in the Hyuga family, is only 64 palms. Has Niji developed a move that is even more advanced? Even Niji himself was surprised, because he could not imagine that he would master such an unheard-of move. Is this a move created by my future self? The 128 palms are original to the animation and can be seen as a move that only exists in a parallel world. The setting of this book is that the Hyuga in this world does not know this move. Ninji's instant doubled attack speed shocked Kidamaru, who was secretly observing, and also strengthened his idea of using long-range attacks to defeat his opponent. The attack and defense between the two continued for a while. Suddenly, Kidamaru took advantage of the situation and shot a spider sticky gold that scratched Niji's shoulder. Seeing this, Kidamaru was slightly stunned, because even he himself did not know how this attack hit the opponent. Taiyuai and Sakuan, who were on their way, talked about Kidamaru. Although they knew his playful personality, they were not worried about his safety because they felt that as long as they entered State 2, the pursuit team would be dead. Such a familiar description. I vaguely remember that a fat man said the same thing not long ago. Orochimaru, what's wrong with your subordinates? Did they agree to say this? The lines are a bit poor, and they have to share the same rhetoric. After seeing his injury on the sky, Niji's pupils shrank slightly. Oh no. Will this guy find the blind spot of the Byakugan? People who know the Byakugan of the Hyuga family are a little nervous at this time, especially the clan leader Hyuga Hayashi. Did I really do something wrong? If Niji was the main family, he wouldn't have left such a defect. The system of the branch family, although Niji successfully killed Kidamaru's spider-type summoning beast, after a series of probing attacks from the other party, the hidden blind spot of the Byakugan was discovered. In order to kill him at a distance, Kidamaru entered State 2 without hesitation, and molded the hardened spider sticky gold into the shape of an arrow and aimed it at Niji. 100% hit rate, maximum destructive power. Die? What a weird description. You've played too many games. That's not the point. According to Kidamaru's description, the Byakugan technique seems to have a blind spot. It turns out that the 360-degree blind spot claimed by the Hyuga clan is a lie. Is the blind spot fixed? If so, it's behind them. Great. If you encounter the Hyuga clan in the future, you can take advantage of this weakness. Are you sure there is room for this weakness to be exploited? Maybe their field of vision is not as 360 degrees as advertised, but it should only be 1 degree short. That is, a small area behind. Normal people have blind spots here. This kind of weakness that can't be used after turning around is useless, unless you can build this situation like Kidamaru. In simple terms, those who are stronger than them don't need to use this weakness, and those who are weaker than them can't use it. It can only be used when the two sides are evenly matched and in special occasions, and the feasibility is low. Everyone understands the general principles, but after all, such a weakness was revealed for no reason. Most of the Hyuga clan are panicking at this time, and they can't calm down in a short time. Brother Ningxi, Hinata looked at Ningxi with some concern. As a member of the main family, she naturally didn't have the defect of the Byakugan, so she focused all her attention on Ningxi. Because he felt very awkward, even if Ningxi noticed Hinata's expression, he still stared at the sky without responding. Fortunately, Kaizion Lee was also worried that Ningxi kept shouting and diverted other people's attention, so no one noticed his emotional changes. Ningxi barely dodged the thunder-like attack, but he also paid the price. He paid the price of having his shoulder pierced. Kidamaru analyzed that the opponent deflected his attack by releasing a large amount of chakra, but this dying struggle only aroused his rampage. In addition, the soft fist that could only be used when close to him could not threaten him at a long distance, so Kidamaru leisurely pulled the bowstring and aimed at the fleeing Nisi. What a strong power. Even if Nisi was not restrained, he might not be able to take this attack even if he used Kaiten. This Kidamaru has a strong ability to analyze. Although he doesn't know the Byakugan, he has summarized all the abilities of the Byakugan after a few rounds of attacks, and even tested out its weaknesses. Without any effort, the arrow directly penetrated the tree hiding Nishi's body. Perhaps Nishi was not destined to die, and this attack deviated from the trajectory because of the tree. At the same time, Nishi also learned that Kidamaru controlled the direction of the arrow from a distance through spider silk. Noticing this, Kidamaru created an arrow with a spiral tip this time, hoping to reduce the impact of external forces by increasing the rotation speed to ensure that he could hit the opponent. So strong. This guy is much stronger than me. I have very little chakra left. I am afraid I can't avoid the next attack. The wounded Neji stood up with his body shaking. At this time, Naruto's figure flashed in his mind. Neji smiled softly. Naruto, if it were you, what would you do? If it were Naruto, a bunch of shadow clones would rush up now. Comparing numbers with Naruto, the number of spiders released by Kidamaru may not be enough. If he is hit by the Rasengan, even if Kidamaru uses the spider sticky gold defense, he should not be able to withstand it. So if Naruto stays, there is still a chance of winning. Naruto scratched his head, looked at the sky curtain and then looked at Neji, not understanding why the other party mentioned his name at that time. Neji also wanted to figure this out. What happened to make him think of his face when he was dying? Chapter 70. Knowing that he couldn't dodge the enemy's attack, Neji stopped trying to dodge and took the full force of the arrow shot by Kidamaru head-on. Of course, Neji didn't give up his life, but used this method to send the power of his soft fist into Kidamaru's body along the spider silk on the arrow. The unexpected attack made Kidamaru's body stiffen and fall from the tree. While adjusting his breath, Neji recalled the words Naruto said to him during the Chunin exam, and then suddenly opened his eyes and activated his Byakugan. On the other side, there were only 3 people left in the pursuit team. Kiba and Shikamaru were worried about the safety of the 2 people behind them. Only Naruto was 100% sure that they would catch up safely. Because Choji still has a trick, and because Neji is a true genius. Has Naruto never thought that his companions might be sacrificed? The more Naruto thinks like this, the more pain he will suffer when he really loses his companions one day. Which ninja who has participated in the war has not had this experience, and only those who can overcome it can become a true ninja. Because of this, Naruto is never considered a qualified ninja. I think it's good now. Is Naruto still Naruto when he is bound by the rules and regulations of ninja? If this is the case, perhaps there will be no stories on the sky. A real ninja. Obito sneered at these comments. It was because of this cognition that the tragedy of Lin happened, so he was determined to change this ninja system, even if he had to give up everything. Although Naruto didn't quite understand some of the comments, he would never allow his companions to sacrifice themselves. He looked at Neji with a serious expression. Hey, you will definitely defeat your opponent, Neji. Although those things on the sky curtain have not happened yet, since he is a person called a genius by me, it must be no problem to defeat that kind of guy. Looking at Naruto's bright eyes, Neji seemed to understand how his future self was changed. I lost to him, in the Chunin exam, both in battle and in my heart. His heart was slightly hot, and after Neji closed his eyes and calmed down his emotions, he chuckled and replied, of course. After discovering the opponent's attack method, he immediately thought of how to use counterattack. It's really excellent, Neji. You launched a counterattack as soon as you found an opportunity. Although you are a ninja in peacetime, your will is very strong. Don't always think that ninjas in peacetime are not as good as those in wartime. Excellent people are excellent no matter when they are placed. From Neji's memories and Naruto's words, the two fought in the Chunin exam, and Naruto should have won. Is Naruto mocking you, admitting that Neji is a genius, and then saying that he is the last one, but he is the winner? Puff. Naruto actually said that the clone technique is his worst ninjutsu. What are the hundreds of shadow clones he created? Are they my illusions? I can't lose no matter what. Even if the enemy is stronger than me, even if I have to sacrifice my life for it, I can't lose. Ninsy dragged his seriously injured body towards Kidamaru, because I have reason not to lose. Ninsy rushed to Kidamaru who was unprepared, blocked his chakra with his soft fist and successfully defeated his opponent. Kidamaru, who was instantly disabled, fell to the ground in a mess. After Nishi's explanation, he realized that the opponent also took advantage of the flaws of the blind spot and finally successfully achieved this situation where both sides suffered losses. The unexpected development made Kidamaru full of doubts. He didn't understand where Nishi got the determination to carry out such a plan, and then he heard him say, You are the strongest one among the opponents I have met, but I have a reason that I absolutely cannot lose to you. Because the strongest person who fought with me before once said, because you are different from me, you are not the last one. I have always been called a genius, and I absolutely cannot lose to you. This is also for those who firmly believe that an ordinary person like me is a genius. I was originally thinking how shameless you are. Aren't you ashamed to call yourself a genius? But suddenly you said something like this. Damn, you must be too modest. No, Niji, your performance has nothing to do with ordinary people. Don't raise the threshold for ordinary people. One is more outrageous than the other. Before there was Uzumaki Naruto who was not good at clone technique, and now there's Hyuga who is not a genius but just an ordinary person times. Perhaps there will be Nara Shikamaru who is not a smart person in the future? Akemichi Chouji who doesn't like food? Inuzuka Kiba who doesn't like dogs? You Konoha ninjas have so many different reasons for not losing. It's not that as long as you have this thing, you will definitely win. What if both sides have reasons for not losing? Then the competition is about hard power. I understand. I will find a reason for not losing right now, so that I can exchange one of the Konoha ninjas' trump cards, and then it will be a pure strength competition. Huh? The supporting role should be easily solved. You said that. Kneeling on the ground, Niji said to Kadamaru behind him, take a good look at the current situation. The fate of a person is not determined by others. Seeing that Niji was almost exhausted and was still lecturing him, Kadamaru sneered while spitting blood. Who knows? Anyway, you are going to die soon. I won't die so easily. Even if you hold on, you can't change the development of things. Lord Sasuke joined our Togakure out of his own will. What? Sasuke was not kidnapped, but defected. Naruto and Sakura's pupils shrank, and they couldn't believe the truth was like this. Kakashi came to the two of them in an instant and held their shoulders. Calm down, the enemy's words cannot be completely trusted. I will go to find Sasuke now. After saying that, he nodded to Kai, Asuma and Hong, and left the room directly through the window. The sudden truth made the atmosphere in the room a little dull, especially Shikamaru. After knowing that Sasuke might have defected, he couldn't help but feel that Choji's sacrifice was not worth it. Thinking about it, Shikamaru shook his head violently. Don't think about it, whether Sasuke defected or not, the mission is the mission. Chapter 71. Niji and Kadamaru both lost consciousness due to exhaustion. At the same time, the three members of the pursuit team also caught up with the target again. Naruto used shadow clones and transformation techniques to entangle Sakura. Shikamaru used shadow imitation techniques to control Tayuya, and finally Kiba, who pretended to attack, successfully took away the coffin containing Sasuke. The three people who completed the plan successfully immediately ran away, and Sakura, who was fooled, was extremely angry and directly activated the curse seal to chase after him. Frightened by the opponent's momentum, Akamaru accidentally tripped when setting the trap, so in order to save it, Kiba had to turn around and rush to the trap. The man, the dog, and Sakura were all blown away by the shock wave generated by the explosion of the detonating talisman and fell into a deep canyon on the side. It feels like Naruto's use of the Rasengan is a bit clumsy. It is obviously the signature ninjutsu of the fourth Hokage, and it is a move that made him famous during the war. It should be that his chakra control is not enough. It was originally a ninjutsu without seals, but Naruto needs to use a shadow clone or two hands to perform it. Although the difficulty is reduced, the operability is inevitably reduced. Shikamaru is a one-trick pony. So far, I don't think I have seen him use other ninjutsu. Perhaps because he can solve most problems with a little brain power, so he slacked off in ninjutsu training. Whether it is combat power or brain power, relying solely on one of them is not enough. If you don't correct this, you will regret it one day. The previous two failures prove this point. Because of the lack of hard power, the arranged plans will always deviate. If you fail, just say you were careless. If you succeed, just say it's the same as calculated. I learned it. I can pretend to be a high IQ ninja in the future. Woof. Akamaru drooped his face and called softly to Yang. Seeing this, Yer touched his head. It's okay, Akamaru, let's work together. Next time we meet this guy, we will beat him up. Count me in. This guy actually looks down on us like this. I must let him know how powerful we are. Naruto said unwillingly. Jiraiya scratched his head and didn't comment on Naruto's way of using Rasengan. It was amazing that he could learn Rasengan at this age. It was not incomprehensible that he had weak control, not to mention the influence of the Nine Tails chakra. We still have to go back quickly. We must let the child master some self-protection power as soon as possible. Looking at the mission scroll sent by the third Hokage, Jiraiya sighed, packed up and continued on his journey to find Tsunade. There was no time to worry about Kiba. Seeing Teuaya coming towards him aggressively, Shikamaru immediately decided to stay and intercept the enemy, and let Naruto go back with a coffin. Suddenly, Teuaya, who was originally furious, noticed something, his face changed and stopped, raised his head and his voice trembled. "You. Why are you here?" Kimimaro, a white figure, appeared silently behind Naruto and Shikamaru, and took back the coffin they had finally snatched before the two of them could react. What a beautiful skill. Is this guy also a subordinate of Orochimaru? So Orochimaru's subordinates also have people with normal appearance, and they are quite good looking. That Teuaya looks okay. Don't equate Orochimaru's subordinates with freaks. Sorry Naruto, I miscalculated. Shikamaru was sweating on his forehead, watching Kimimaro, who had white hair and white clothes, easily take away the coffin. Not taking Naruto and Shikamaru seriously at all, Kimimaro talked to Teuaya for a few words, ordered her to stop the two, and then left the place quickly with the coffin. Although Naruto wanted to stop it, he failed because of Teuaya. Seeing this, Shikamaru quickly calmed him down and made a plan. Look, Shikamaru's plan went wrong again. Naruto and Shikamaru were confused. The enemy just sandwiched them and started chatting. From their conversation, it seems that this new guy has some health problems. How can he be so good even if he is in poor condition? Although Shikamaru's plans always have some problems, I really admire his ability to come up with new countermeasures quickly every time. Although he has a bad temper, Teuaya is also secretly analyzing the intelligence of the two. When he sees them rushing towards him without any defense, he sneers with disdain. Humph. Idiots are idiots. It's useless even if more people join forces. Shikamaru took the lead with Teuaya in close combat. Just as she was on guard against Naruto's subsequent attack, she watched him pass over her head, and Teuaya realized what trick the two were using. Teuaya was so angry that she couldn't hold back her expression, turned back and glared at Shikamaru, and then immediately noticed the shadow that was extending quickly, and quickly jumped back to avoid it. Shikamaru didn't get discouraged after failing to catch the enemy, and he cheered up and entered the fighting state. If you see the Nara clan doing something stupid, you don't have to think about it, it must be part of their plan. They really want to use shadows to restrain the enemy as soon as they get the chance. Are the people of the Nara family lawless? Although Shikamaru said it was troublesome, he would become very confident every time he faced the enemy. He obviously knew that the enemy was difficult to deal with. Although he is usually careless, he seems to be quite handsome when he is serious. Looking at the barrage speechlessly, Shikamaru muttered with disgust, "Don't talk about such irrelevant things, really." Kimimaro rushed out of the forest and immediately found Naruto following behind him. Naruto, whose eyes turned into animal pupils and whose body grew sharp teeth and claws, glared at Kimimaro fiercely. He asked why the other party took Sasuke away, and then learned from Kimimaro that Orochimaru wanted to use Sasuke as a soul container. Naruto naturally wouldn't agree, and the two were about to fight. Is Naruto so excited that the Nine Tails power came out? Orochimaru wants to take Sasuke's body. As long as he keeps changing his body, he can live forever. Does Sasuke know Orochimaru's purpose? If he doesn't know, he will just walk into a trap. What do you think? Kakashi's voice came from behind him. Sasuke didn't look back. He looked at the sky and was silent for a moment before saying, "Probably for power, to get the power to kill that man." "No, I'm not asking about defection." Kakashi walked to Sasuke, stood side by side with him and looked at the sky. "What I want to ask is, how do you feel when you see your fellow villagers risking their lives to bring you back?" I don't know. Sasuke pursed his lips, and his heart was extremely confused at this time. Seeing this, Kakashi did not continue to ask, and said without making any sense, "Starting tomorrow, I will apply to the Sandaime to reduce the amount of tasks. You will wait for my notification. I will arrange time to guide you in your training." Chapter 72. On the other side, Teuaya mocked Shikamaru for letting his teammates die one by one to save Sasuke. Shikamaru also frankly expressed his uneasiness. However, even so, they never thought of giving up the mission, because no one in the team would choose not to fight for self-protection, so all they could do was trust them. Listen, I don't think that's a sacrifice, nor do I think they're dead. Don't underestimate my companions. It's really a big test to meet such a difficult opponent in the first team leader's mission. But you can still stand up when necessary, Naruto Shikamaru. Without any experience, you can imagine how much pressure it will be to carry the lives of your companions. Kiba and Sakuan, who fell to the bottom of the canyon, also started fighting. Kiba, who used the animal-like ninjutsu, was very fast, but the simple fist and foot attacks were still much weaker than Sakuan. After trying in vain, Kiba and Akamaru cooperated and used Kibatong Kiba to launch a pincer attack on Sakuan. In the forest, Teyuai summoned 3 giant humanoid monsters. This is a big trouble. Although the previous speech was very cool, after seeing what the enemy summoned, Shikamaru couldn't help but stare with dead fish eyes, and cold sweat broke out on his face. Just listen to the melody of death I play for you. You shouldn't underestimate us. Idiot. Teyuai held the flute to his lips and sneered. Ha ha. Although it's a nice talk, this kind of frontal battle is what the Naruto clan least wants to face. Inuzuka Kiba feels a bit worried. From the opponent's attitude and actions, we can see that the gap between him and the opponent is quite obvious. Although Shikamaru trusts his partners very much, it is still a bit reluctant to face opponents whose abilities are unknown and whose strength is obviously higher than theirs. At the bottom of the canyon, Sakuan, who was caught in the middle, split into 2 people and steadily received the attacks of Kiba and Akamaru. On the grass outside the forest, Kimimaro looked around expressionlessly, and said in a flat voice, "Oh. Interesting. I will never hand Sasuke over to you," Naruto said to Kimimaro with a ferocious expression. Looking around, he saw hundreds of clones surrounding Kimimaro. It appears, Naruto's classic tactics. I feel like I've seen it so many times that I'm not surprised, because you don't know if these shadow clones will turn into clouds of smoke in the next second because of the opponent's counterattack. But this time, the Nine Tails chakra has been strengthened, so it should have some effect. I don't think so. Judging from Kimimaro's reaction, it is very likely that he didn't take Naruto seriously. Naruto's shadow clones rushed forward, and Kimimaro stretched out 2 pointed bones from his palms and took an attacking stance. At the bottom of the canyon, facing Sakuan, who had merged into one again, Kiba had no power to fight back and was beaten extremely embarrassed. From the other party's nagging explanation, it can be learned that they were originally 2 people, but Yukin, who was usually the older brother, was sleeping in Sakuan's body, and when fighting, he would attack the enemy from any part of his body. Yukin, who was not in the mood to play, urged Sakuan to enter state 2 directly, ready to fight and finish the opponent quickly. What's coming out of Kimimaro's palm? Bones. Bones. Corpse bones. Haven't the Kaguya clan been exterminated a long time ago? There are still survivors who have joined Orochimaru. Does Orochimaru have a habit of collecting survivors of these big clans? Look at Kimimaro and Sasuke. Everyone else is one-on-one, but when it comes to Inuzuka Kiba, it becomes one-on-2. And it seems that Sakuan and Yukin are still the strongest ones besides Kimimaro. This is a difficult situation. From their previous conversation, Kiba has a hidden card, right? Maybe we can look forward to it. Yukin is very straightforward. He used all his strength at the first time, unlike the previous ones who had many problems. Where did Orochimaru gather these talents from? Not only do they have strange abilities, but they are all very strong. From the smell, it can be felt that the enemy's strength is increasing dramatically. At Akamaru's reminder, Kiba has no choice but to use his best trick to deal with the 2 opponents. First, let Akamaru mark the enemy with urine, and then Kiba and Akamaru use the hybrid transformation technique to turn into a huge 2-headed wolf. Sakuan and Yukin, who are confident in their strength, did not take Kiba's move seriously. Unexpectedly, the speeding spinning wolf fangs of Kiba, even if they don't touch it, it will cause severing damage. The 2 were hit directly when they were not careful and were torn in half without any resistance. This trump card is stronger than I thought. Although it seems to consume a lot of energy, it is really powerful. What's wrong with you, Konoha Jinan? Why are you all so strong? What's more, you are so strong, but you haven't become Chunin yet. I feel that I, a so-called Chunin, will die miserably against any of them. This is the result of carelessness. Even if you are stronger than your opponent, you may still fail. Yeah, who was originally a little worried because the enemy was too strong, opened his nostrils and exhaled a thick breath after seeing the new move he performed, so strong. It turns out that my trump card at that time was this move. However, Shikamaru was not reassured by the strength shown by Yam. According to the performance of the other Odanin, although Yulangaya's attack was powerful, the enemy should not be killed so easily. You originally thought that the enemy would be killed after this move, but unexpectedly, they directly separated each other's consciousness with a split body, and in this way, the damage was minimized. Ya's face was a little ugly, because using Yan Langfang once more was his limit, so the next attack must hit both of them. Thinking of this, Yu did not hesitate and directly launched an attack on the two. Faced with this unapproachable attack, Sakon and Yukin summoned out of Rashomon. The huge door was severely damaged after the impact, but it also successfully made Yu lose the ability to attack. It's powerful, but the opponent's ability is even more bizarre. It's already lost. The possibility of hitting two people at the same time is too low. It's still because the attack mode is too simple. The trajectory of the action was immediately seen through by the enemy. Damn it. The rotation speed is enough, but the movement speed is too slow. And the turning is not flexible. Yu bit his nails. He knew the flaws of this move very well. Although he didn't expect to really defeat an opponent of that strength, he still felt unwilling to be cracked so easily. Chapter 73. Sakon and Yukin attacked the two-headed wolf that fell powerlessly from the sky. In order to protect Kiba, Akamaru burned Sakon's eyes with urine, but Yukin still took the opportunity to use the parasitic demon destruction technique to merge into Kiba's body. Yukin eroded Kiba's body while explaining his ability to oppress his spirit. Kiba, who had no choice, could only use self-mutilation to die together with the enemy. Hiss. He heard himself directly. Aren't you afraid that the opponent is just lying? I believe you when you say he is an experienced veteran who survived the battlefield. This reaction is too straightforward. Ninjas in peacetime are also brave. Take back my previous evaluation of Yukin. He could have just taken action directly, but he chose to merge into the opponent's body and torture him slowly. He deserved to be killed. Orochimaru's subordinates are strong, but they all have personality problems. Although they were not as good as the opponent, they responded quite well overall. If we were in that situation, we would probably have to use the same method. Hong commented on Kiba's battle. To be honest, it was very good to be able to fight to this point. The opponent's strength was not much different from that of the Jonin like them. Although Kiba was impulsive, he was not someone who could not see the situation clearly. He had done everything he could on the sky screen. The only reason for his defeat to the opponent was that he was not strong enough. There was no way to refute it. In order not to repeat the same mistake, all he could do was to train harder. It was impossible to make him give up easily. After forcing Yukin out of his body, Kiba quickly took Akamaru and fled to the river. Yukin, who was wounded by Kiba's self-harm and traps, was furious and found Sakon to merge with him again, reducing his injuries by sleeping. On the grass, facing Naruto's overwhelming attack, Kimimaro calmly used the willow dance to defeat the shadow clones one by one. Although Naruto was surprised at Kimimaro's ability to use bones as weapons, he had no intention of retreating from this enemy who wanted to kidnap his companions. Sure enough, Kimimaro is so strong. Those who use the corpse bone vein are basically physical ninjas, but there are very few who can reach Kimimaro's level. There is no doubt that his strength is definitely comparable to that of a Jonin. Don't forget that this guy still has problems with his body. He may be sick or injured. To be honest, although Kimimaro looks good, the scene of him pulling bones out of his body is still disgusting. This time, Naruto didn't let the shadow clones rush forward, but tried to keep a distance and launch an all-round attack. I said this guy still has a tactical mind. It's more appropriate to describe it as tactical intuition. It seems that his brain didn't react, but his body just did it naturally. Since he and the previous few people are called the Five, there is a high probability that Kimimaro also has a curse seal on him. He is already so strong. If he is 10 times stronger, it will be difficult for the Hokage to come. Just think about it and you will know that it is impossible. The stronger the strength is, the lower the increase after using some strengthening methods. If everyone is fixedly strengthened by more than 10 times, Orochimaru would have to defect and directly flatten Konoha to become the Hokage himself. For Kimimaro's fighting style, several girls in Zyokyang felt a little uncomfortable. The scene was really a bit scary. The boys were more concerned about the strength shown by the other party, especially Niji and Rock Lee, who also used physical skills. After putting themselves in Naruto's position, their expressions became a little solemn. Through the smell, Kiba noticed that the enemy was getting closer, but at the same time, the smell of some people who shouldn't be here got into his nose. The situation is a bit complicated. Kiba doesn't intend to stay there and wait for death. He takes Shikamaru into the river to try to escape the enemy's pursuit. When Sakuan finds him, only one code is left. Who are they? Judging from Kiba Inuzuka's reaction, they seem to be enemies. If they are reinforcements, they shouldn't react like this, but it must be a variable. Maybe this is why the 5 members of the pursuit team can survive. In the forest, under the control of Teiuya's flute, the 3 summoned monsters chase Shikamaru relentlessly. Shikamaru judged that Teiuya was controlling the actions of the monsters through the music she played, but the complex tune was quite difficult for Shikamaru, who knew nothing about music, to understand. Teiuya was also confident in this, and calmly blew the flute to activate the special abilities of the 3 monsters. 3 transparent tentacles emerged from the monster's mouth and attacked the target. After experiencing it once, Shikamaru immediately analyzed that these tentacles would take away his life energy and the principle of this move. The Nara clan's brain temperature must rise rapidly during the battle. There are too many ideas for analysis and summary. I originally thought that Teiuya had not shown any special abilities, but it turns out that her summoned beast is special. Can chakra be created by mental power alone? The abilities of the sound ninjas cannot be explained by my common sense. The special description reminded Tsunade of Kato Dan's spiritualization technique, which uses this special chakra. Maybe it was the summoned beast that Orochimaru developed based on the spiritualization technique? Tsunade frowned and thought uncertainly. Shikamaru, who is in a very bad situation, looked through his remaining equipment and quickly thought of a counterattack. Using the mechanism set by the Kyune, Teiuya and the 3 monsters were forced to the planned position, and then the opponent's shadow was extended by the flash bomb, and the shadow imitation technique was successfully activated to subdue the 3 monsters. Teiuya didn't believe that the opponent could understand the flute music and the corresponding command pattern in such a short time. Shikamaru did not hide it and answered directly, "I didn't listen to your music at all. In addition to the sound, it was actually your fingers that helped me figure out your command pattern." Shikamaru supported his knees and looked at Teiuya, and behind him were 3 monsters who acted in the same way as him. People of the Nara clan are all very smart, right? When being chased by the enemy and running away, you actually have the ability to analyze the movements of the enemy's fingers. I really am. Why? Ninjutsu can be passed down, but why can intelligence also be inherited? Is this some kind of blood limit? Hey, let's wait near Konoha tomorrow and see if we can kidnap a member of the Nara clan and improve the genes. We can ask Kumagakure to help with this. They are quite familiar with this business. Slander. This is a slander against our Kumagakure. Shikamaru rubbed his arms with a look of disgust, wondering if he should remove all the Nara-related labels on his body. Chapter 74. Having mastered the opponent's chess piece, Shikamaru declared victory with a bit of pride, to which Teiuya smiled contemptuously. Why do you look so relaxed? At least take out your Kyune and try it out. Hiding behind the monster, Shikamaru said meaningfully. Teiuya was very confident, raised the flute and said to him, "The flute is my only weapon. I just said that no one who heard this song could survive, idiot." I feel that Shikamaru is setting up a trap again. This smug attitude is a bit out of place for him. I don't feel that way. Isn't this a common problem for high IQ ninjas? The binding power of the Nara clan's shadow secret technique is a bit confusing. A monster of this size was easily controlled, but it was easily broken free by Hyde before. It depends on how much effort the caster puts in. Maybe he was careless before. Since he couldn't count on it, Teiuya simply lifted the summoning technique, thinking that this would make Shikamaru lose his help, but he didn't expect that this was also in his plan. Using the 3 monsters to distract Teiuya's attention, Shikamaru took the opportunity to control the shadow along the tree trunk and control her from behind. The first move is a fake move to confuse the opponent, and the second move is the real move. This is the basic common sense of attack. Is there such basic common sense? Am I attending a fake school? This kind of knowledge is definitely not taught in ninja schools. It is usually summarized by oneself after much experience. It is indeed common sense for those experienced ninjas. If the enemy's intelligence is known from the beginning, I feel that Shikamaru can cross several levels of strength and play with the opponent. That's not the case. If you are well prepared, you may be able to ignore 1 or 2 levels, but if the gap is too big, it is basically impossible to succeed. The opponent will also think. Teiuya's face is very ugly. She can only choose to enter the second state to break this situation when Shikamaru is about to die. Shikamaru feels bad in an instant and quickly changes his strategy to change the shadow imitation technique into the shadow strangulation technique, intending to use this move to directly break the enemy's neck. Unlike the previous technique, the body can really feel the power of the shadow, just like being grabbed by a real hand. Teiuya watched the shadow wrap around her body, and slowly raised the flute to her lips with brute force. It's obviously a very dangerous ninjutsu, but why do I unconsciously think about it wrongly? Is there something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. The problem is Nara Shikamaru who performed the ninjutsu. No, it's the Nara clan who used this ninjutsu. No, this is just an ordinary ninjutsu. There is absolutely no obscene intention, asshole. The shadow is just a ball of released chakra. Why can you think about this kind of thing wrongly? No way. Who told you to turn the shadow into the shape of a hand? That's to break the enemy's neck. My reputation is ruined. In the barbecue restaurant, 4 girls got off covering his chest consciously. Shikamaru watched the 4 people's actions with a twitch in his mouth, covered his forehead and closed his eyes. Spare me. To be honest, Orochimaru's seal is so strong, not only does it have little side effects, but the strength improvement is so obvious. At the critical moment, it is the bargaining chip for turning defeat into victory. There should be a problem of adaptability. As I said before, if everyone can master this seal technique, Orochimaru will not be just a traitor. Unable to stop Teiuya's playing, Shikamaru immediately judged that the other party was using illusion after noticing that the surrounding environment was gradually distorted, so he changed his strategy again and threw the kunai in his hand, but perhaps affected by the illusion, the kunai fell on the branch that Teiuya was standing on without any accuracy. Unable to move his body, Shikamaru, who was in the illusion, screamed as he watched his body being dissolved. Teiuya was quite satisfied with this scene, pulled out the kunai under his feet and came to Shikamaru to kill him. This woman is not only venomous but also petty. Should she return what her opponent has done to her intact? An auditory illusion? That's a bit difficult. Speaking of which, Shikamaru's ninjutsu success rate is a bit low. I remember that in the 3 stories so far, he seems to have only succeeded on a few miscellaneous soldiers. The other times, the enemy used various means to break it. This is the result of not having enough hard power. Relying on cleverness alone, one day, your words will be defeated. However, all this was in Shikamaru's plan. He used the shadow finger breaking technique to break the illusion, and then used the shadow head strangulation technique, which had a stronger binding force when the distance was shortened, to catch the enemy. Originally, Teiuya was still annoyed that she had approached rashly, but Shikamaru's answer immediately dispelled her emotions. No. Your biggest mistake was actually telling me that the flute was your only weapon. It turned out that the kunai was thrown off on purpose in order to track Teiuya. There's a follow-up. How many traps have been dug for the opponent? Oh my god. I have goosebumps. Have you learned it all? In the future, when you meet someone from the Nara family in a battle, don't waste time talking to them. Just fight them directly. Then you will find that they have another plan waiting for you, taking advantage of the fact that you don't talk. What do you mean? Why did Shikamaru say that his kunai was thrown off purposely? Naruto's mind was full of question marks, and Sakura looked at him speechlessly. Stupid, the enemy said that his only weapon was the flute, so if you want to kill Shikamaru, you can only use his kunai, which is to use this to track the opponent. But what if the enemy throws the kunai directly? It turns out that Naruto is not without thinking, but has thought more than Sakura. Sakura did not expect this, and subconsciously looked at Shikamaru. Shikamaru explained, this is a plan made after understanding the opponent's personality. I am 90% sure that the opponent will directly attack with a kunai at close range. Of course, it doesn't matter if it fails, just think of other ways. Hong listened to their conversation and secretly sighed in his heart. This class of students is really excellent. Although not all of them are outstanding, they have surpassed the level of their age in their respective fields of expertise. Perhaps this is why they can appear on the sky screen again and again. Among them, Naruto is the best. After all, he appeared in all 3 stories, and he was the main character every time. Nine-tailed fox, maybe more than that. Chapter 75. HMPH. It seems that I have to admit that besides being clever, you are also quite courageous. Teiuya, who had been tricked again and again, was somewhat impressed by Shikamaru. I am also a very gentle person. It is really against my principles to punch a weak woman. Fortunately, you don't look like a weak woman at all, Shikamaru said, and punched Teiuya's abdomen fiercely, but was blocked by the other party's palm. Ha, as long as you are strong enough, I can beat you up regardless of your gender. Shikamaru, you are being sexist. Can't you treat everyone equally regardless of gender and strength? Even if she is a woman, as long as she is an enemy, you should do your best to defeat her. The one above must not have a partner. You are indeed a little kid in peacetime. When did ninjas also have male and female differences? If you hold on to this mentality, you will die miserably one day. Stop being so senior, you old guys who talk about war and rules all the time. Why do ninjas have to act within the framework agreed upon in the past? Can't we, the ninjas of the new era, have our own ideas? Naive. However, even if he used strategy to lead the battle to this situation, Shikamaru's shadow head strangling technique was extremely difficult to perform. After entering the second state, Teiuya's strength increased greatly. This stalemate phase is all about hard power. Sure enough, no matter how smoothly the plan went, at this moment, the most reliable thing is your own strength. You have to work harder on ninjutsu, Shikamaru. Shikamaru sighed in frustration. Although he had made up his mind to work hard, he still felt it was very troublesome. Naruto's hundreds of shadow clones were wiped out by Kimimaro, who was unscathed, leaving only his real body to face this unfathomable opponent. Just as Naruto tensed up and prepared to continue the next wave of attacks, the coffin containing Sasuke suddenly exploded and emitted a burst of purple mist. In the mist, Sasuke, who had his back to the two of them, retracted the curse seal on his body, and his strange blue-gray long hair and gray skin also quickly faded as the curse seal was retracted. Sasuke's appearance is. State 2. It seems that Kidamaru is not talking nonsense. Sasuke really joined Orochimaru voluntarily. Why did you defect? What can Orochimaru give him? Probably to gain power. After all, there's a Itachi who killed the whole clan and has been active in the ninja world. If it were me, I would definitely pursue power desperately, otherwise I would not be killed by that lunatic one day. Sasuke probably doesn't know that Orochimaru wants to use him as a container. Isn't he looking for death by foolishly sending himself to the door like this? So Sasuke is actually gone? No one expects him to escape from Orochimaru's palm by entering State 2. As expected, excessive pursuit of power is not good. Shikamaru and Sasuke just need to neutralize each other a little. Sasuke, is this what you want? For power and revenge, it doesn't matter if you are used as a container by Orochimaru. Kakashi turned his eyes away from the sky. Looking at Sasuke, Sasuke responded coldly, if there is only this way to go, then I will definitely do it, because killing that man is my only goal. Sighing, Kakashi covered his forehead and said, you should give up this goal. Indulging in hatred will only make you lose. Shut up. Sasuke interrupted Kakashi, his eyes flashed red, as long as I can kill that man, I don't care if I give up everything. Kakashi was very depressed. Why are there so many problem children in his team? It feels that Sasuke's mind cannot be changed in a short time. Kakashi changed the subject and said, okay, let's not talk about revenge. If you just want to gain strength, let's start training tomorrow. After all, compared to Orochimaru, I should be more suitable to be your instructor. Why? Sasuke frowned. Compared with the legendary 3 ninjas, where did Kakashi get the confidence to teach better than the other party? You'll know then. Naruto, who had a ferocious face, instantly recovered. He raised his lips and greeted Sasuke in a nonsensical way as usual, but what responded to him was Sasuke's wild laughter. Naruto's smile suddenly became a little forced. He recalled the scenes he had experienced with Sasuke in his mind, and said in a trembling voice, Sasuke. Hey. Did you hear what I said? However, Sasuke did not look at Naruto from beginning to end. With a big leap, he rushed towards the border. Judging from Naruto's past personality, he must be in a very bad mood when he encounters a situation where his partner may become his enemy. The moment he saw Sasuke, the Nine Tails chakra was suppressed. This guy really has no sense of crisis. To be honest, does the pursuit team sent by Konoha know the seriousness of the word defection? From their attitude, we can see that they knew the situation when they received the mission, but their goal from beginning to end was to rescue Sasuke, as if Sasuke would definitely go back with him. Naruto may have never believed that Sasuke was a defector, so he showed such an expression after seeing his opponent's performance. Sasuke. Naruto frowned, looking at Sasuke, who left without looking back on the sky. His face was a little ugly. Naruto was in a state of panic when Kimimaro approached him in an instant. He was about to be slashed on the neck. Fortunately, Lee rushed over at the critical moment and knocked Kimimaro away to save Naruto. Knowing the agreement between Naruto and Sakura, Lee said that he would stop the enemy in front of him, so that Naruto could go and bring Sasuke back without any worries. With the determination and trust of his partner, Naruto chased in the direction where Sasuke left without hesitation. Kimimaro did not stop him because he could feel that the opponent in front of him was not simple. On the surface, it is Shikamaru, the captain, who bears the lives of his companions, but with a mission at this point, it seems that Naruto is under no less pressure than Shikamaru. According to Tayuaya, Naruto is the one who is chasing his goal at the cost of his companions' lives. The brains of these Jonin and Konoha are a little abnormal. Everyone stops these opponents of unknown strength without thinking. On the surface, it seems that they trust themselves and their companions, but from another perspective, they actually don't take their own lives and the lives of their companions seriously. Does Lee have a problem with his body? Naruto seems to be quite surprised by his appearance. Looking at Sakura, who looked like she was about to cry with a bitter face, Naruto gritted his teeth and made up his mind not to let this happen. I'll beat Sasuke up when I see him tomorrow, so that he won't run to Orochimaru to pursue power. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.